A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. A howling dog causes a man to check his neighbor's house. He finds the brutally beaten body of an elderly woman. She's been killed by person or persons unknown. Your job? Investigate. Today, friends, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made for the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 10th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back in from the alley, and it was 7:26 p.m. when I got to 9782 Green Oak Drive. Front door.
Did you find anything?
No. No sign of anybody out back. Did you call the crime lab?
Yeah, I talked to Lee. He's on the way.
That's good.
Call Hollywood Division, too. They're going to send out some more men to help us.
Well, it's an outside chance we might come up with something.
Yeah. Whoever did it sure must have been wild, Joe. I don't think I ever saw a killing as brutal as this one.
It's pretty rough.
Must have hit her a couple of dozen times. Look at there.
Mm-hmm.
See? Wristwatch is broken. Looks like she might have raised her arm to try and stop some of the blows.
Yeah. Crystal smashed up pretty bad. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
Looks like 3:04, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
That must have been the time.
From what the neighbor says, that'd have to be this afternoon.
Yeah. Did you find anything that looks like the murder weapon?
Nothing out in the open. Thought it'd be better if the crime lab checked the place first.
How about the other rooms? They as bad as the one out front?
Yeah, stuff's all scattered around, drawers pulled out, contents thrown all over. Whoever it was sure wanted us to think it was robbery.
Well, let's check the neighbor.
Yeah, he's across the street. Said he wanted to go home and take something to help quiet him down. Must have been quite a shock to the old guy.
Yeah. You want to tell Brian and Phillips where we'll be?
Yeah.
Right. Phillips is out in back. I saw him when I came in.
I'll talk to Brian.
All right. Ask him to let us know when Lee gets here, will you?
Yeah.
All right.
Come on in.
Thank you. Mr. Brody?
Yeah, over here. Want to turn the lights on? I was just sitting here having a drink, trying to calm down a little.
Yes, sir.
Switch is there on the wall, sort of behind the whatnot. You have to kind of feel around.
Yes, sir, I found it.
Turned out the lights to help my head. Oh my, I got an awful headache. You don't happen to have a couple of aspirin on you, do you?
No, sir, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, well, I guess you don't mind much. I guess this'll do just as good.
What if you tell me just what happened here?
Well, I'm glad to. I want to help all I can, sure. I'd like to see you get the guy who did this to Ethel.
Well, why do you think it was a man?
Huh?
Well, you said guy. What makes you think it was a man?
Well, I didn't mean it like... You know, not special, but come right down to it, almost got to be a man. You can't imagine no woman doing a thing like that. At least no woman I ever knew. It's got to be a man. Come on in. Everybody come in. Might as well have a convention, all the people coming in.
My partner, Mr. Brody.
Oh, another policeman, huh?
Yes, sir.
All set, Joe. They're going to call us when the crime lab crew gets here.
All right.
How are you, Mr. Brody?
People all over the place. I never saw a crowd come so fast as when the sirens come in. Seemed like they were attached to mushrooms, just sprung up out of the ground. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Fine, yeah.
Wonder if you'd mind leaving that alone until we ask you a few questions.
So you mean before I have another drink?
Yes, sir, if you would.
Well, of course. Glad to oblige. I'll wait, I mean. You don't have to worry about me, though. Not old Earl Brody. I'll hold my liquor. You just bet. Old Earl's a regular tanker. Don't ever show on old Earl.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you just tell us about finding the body.
Well, I was out in the front watering the lawn. Always do it at the same time, you see. The hot sun burns it up. You don't water, you know. You've got to do that.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what I was doing, watering the lawn.
Yes, sir. Do you want to go on?
You sure you fellas don't want a little snort, huh? Good
No,
work.
No, thanks, Mr.
Huh?
Brody.
No, thanks.
Yeah, well, all of a sudden I hear Nero making an awful fuss.
Who's that?
That's a silly name, isn't it?
Who is it?
Little bitty old Peak. She called it Nero. Always seemed to me that if you're going to call a dog Nero, it should be a big dog. Yes, Nero's the dog.
Well, what happened then?
Well, sir, first off, I didn't pay much attention to it. Just kept right on watering the lawn. And old Nero kept it up. Kept right on yelling and howling. Finally, I figured there must be something wrong. Yes, sir, there must be with all that going on. So I turned off the water and wandered over. You know, check up.
Yes, sir. Mr. Brody, about what time was this?
I thought it was funny, Ethel not coming out and making Nero shut up. Oh, it was about 6 o'clock. Yeah, about 6 o'clock.
Did you see anyone around the house when you went over?
Not a soul, no, sir. There's nobody. So I went around back to the patio, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there wasn't anybody there either. And I knocked at the door. Now, all this time, little old Nero is still raising old Ned. Ain't stopped to breathe hardly.
Yes, sir.
Well, sir, when I knocked on the door, things swung right open. Wasn't locked, you know, so I called Ethel. I called a couple of times. I didn't get no answer. I couldn't see nothing, so door opens on a kind of little service porch. I didn't see a thing.
Yes, sir.
Then I went in. Walked right into the kitchen. There she was, lying on the floor. Stuff scattered all over, and little Nero sitting right beside her, just going crazy.
You called the police right away, didn't you?
Well, I run out of the house, all over to my place, and called the operator. I dialed 0 and told him to send a policeman right away. Yeah, right away I called him.
Had you seen Miss Lawrence at all today?
Yeah, I saw her this noontime. She was out to get the mail, and we said, hello. You know, just as cheerful like that.
Well, what time did you say hello?
Oh, I picked up the mail, went right back into the house, just like she didn't have no idea what was going to happen. Oh, about 1:30, mail comes then.
Mm-hmm. Did you see anyone around her house this afternoon?
Nobody, no. Oh, well, of course, now, I was out in the back most of the afternoon, you see, out there working in the flowers, so I can't right out say that there wasn't anybody over there.
I see. Do you know where we can get in touch with Mr. Lawrence?
He works in the garage down on Pico. I think I got the name of the place around someplace. I used to take my car down to him before him and Mrs. Lawrence got a divorce.
How long have they been divorced?
About 3 years, I guess. Well, I'm not really sure about that.
How they get along, do you know? Any trouble between them?
I guess there's some who'd say that he was right. I made it a practice not to get involved in those things. Religion, politics, and marriage troubles. I don't get meddled up in them. Oh, they fought all the time. Yeah.
Has Mr. Lawrence been at his wife's house lately?
Well, not that I've seen. I guess they see each other, but I understand from what Ethel said. It was at the lawyer's. She used to try to tell me about it, but I just wouldn't listen. I don't believe in it. Religion, politics, marriage stuff, and all those things, etc., etc.
Yes, sir.
Alimony. They was always fighting about alimony, always.
Do you know what the disagreements were about besides alimony?
I'll tell you, mister. You better talk to Mr. Lawrence about that. He's the one to set you right on it. I go telling you, and I'm liable to say something wrong, you see, and that wouldn't be right, now would it? You better talk to him. You talk to him.
All right, sir, if you'll just give us the address, please.
Sure. I'll take a look at my checkbook, see if I can find it. You talk to him. He don't give you all the scoop, then maybe I can help you out a little.
All right, Mr. Brudig, thank you.
Got any more questions you got to ask me right now?
Well, if you don't feel well, sir, we can talk to you later.
Well, it ain't that I don't feel good, just that I like another little snort, you know, kind of pick me up a little, body and soul together, an awful thing. Oh, just awful.
Well, there may be some more things we'll want to check with you later tonight.
A little old snort ain't going to do no harm. One thing everybody says is old Earl can hold his liquor. Everybody says that. You can ask them, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly a day goes by somebody don't say that.
Well, if you'll get Mr. Lawrence's address for us, please.
Right away, sir. Wonder how you going to take all this. All them years of battling, screaming at each other. Now they're over. Ain't going to have no more trouble because of her.
No, that's not quite right, sir.
Huh?
He's liable to have a lot more. Earl Brudig looked through his desk and he found a canceled check bearing the address of the garage where the victim's husband was employed. While he was looking for the check stub, Frank and I interrogated him further on the relations between Ethel Lawrence and her husband. He refused to tell us any more than he had, explaining that if the answers we got from the husband weren't adequate, we could come back and see him. 6:48 p.m. We returned to the victim's house and we talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones. He told us that the crew from the crime lab had been unable to find the murder weapon, but that they had been able to lift several good fingerprints from the kitchen. He went on to say that these had been checked with those of the victim and they were not the same. Little other physical evidence was found in the house. However, an impression of a shoe had been found in the soft earth at the side of the house and a plaster cast had been made of it. We asked Lieutenant Jones to take the fingerprints of the neighbor who had found the body and check them with the impressions left in the victim's house. 9:46 p.m. The coroner arrived and removed the body and attached the paper seal to the front door. Frank and I went back to the office and checked the name of the victim and her husband through the record bureau. We found that Bernard Lawrence had been arrested 4 years previously on a wife-beating charge, but that he'd been released when his wife refused to prosecute. We checked the name Earl Brudig. He had no record. 10:54 p.m. We drove over to the garage where the victim's husband was employed. The place was closed, but there was a card on the door giving an emergency address. Frank and I drove out to the house, a low, rambling ranch-style building. The garage owner, Arnold Norton, met us at the door.
Yeah?
Mr. Norton?
That's right. What can I do for you?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, I guess it's okay. I don't know what it's about, but I guess it's okay. What do you want?
Might be better if we talked inside.
You mind if I see your identification?
No, sir. Here's my ID card. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Uh-huh. Yeah, come in.
Thank you.
Just a minute, I'll turn off the TV.
We don't like to bother you, Mr. Norton. Shouldn't take us too long.
Doesn't matter, it's just a fight movie. I've seen it before. I get a kick out of seeing him again.
Mm-hmm.
What is it you want to know?
You have an employee named Bernard Lawrence working for you?
Yeah, Barney's been with me for about 7 years. Why?
You have a home address for him?
I suppose so. But can you tell me what this is all about?
Just a routine investigation. We'd like to talk to him.
I'll write out the address for you.
All right.
You ever hear about Lawrence and his wife having any quarrels or disagreements?
I'm not quite sure how I should answer that.
What do you mean?
I don't know why you're asking the question. It's a little rough to ask me to comment on the way Barney gets along with his wife. I don't want to lay anything on him.
You've known him for quite a while, have you?
Yeah, I told you he's been with me for 7 years. Best carburetor man I've got.
You must have heard him discussing his home life at one time or another, haven't you?
I went through the same thing before. I got myself right in the middle before. I don't want it to happen again.
I don't understand.
When they got the divorce, all the time lawyers coming around asking questions, trying to get me to take sides. I'm not going to do it. If Barney's trying to bring the thing up again, he should be the one to tell me, not have you fellas come around and do it. I'm not going to get in the middle again. I've known both of them for a long time. I think a lot of them. Ethel and Barney and me have been pretty close in the years. But I've had it. All the questions about how much Barney makes, what were his working hours, who'd he see, did he run around with any girls? No. I'm not going to answer any more questions.
Well, this isn't a civil matter, Mr. Norton.
This has nothing to do with the divorce?
No, sir.
I'm not going to be called as a witness?
We can't say to that, sir.
Uh-huh. The way you fellas are going about this routine thing makes me think that it's a lot more important than just a traffic ticket or anything like that.
Well, it is.
Did you see Lawrence today?
You mean at the garage?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he came to work at 8, just like he always does.
He was there all day?
8 to 5, that's what he works.
Does he have occasion to leave the garage at all during the day?
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, does he have to leave to go pick up parts, anything like that?
Yeah, once in a while he does. We got a fellow who does that kind of thing, but when he's out on a call and Barney needs something fast, he maybe runs down the street and gets it.
Mm-hmm. Did he leave the garage this afternoon?
Yeah, he had to go down and pick up some rebuilds.
You know what time he left?
It'd be hard to pin it down to an exact time. I don't much keep tabs on Barney. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Pretty important that we get an idea of when he was gone.
Well, I can check it with the other boys in the shop. I should be able to find out when he left. I know he got back about 4:30, though.
You're pretty sure about the time?
Yeah, he came back and did a job on a rush one that we had, and then he took off at 5.
How was he acting when he came back?
What do you mean?
Did he seem upset about anything?
No, not particularly. He seemed pretty happy, though. Kept talking about what a beautiful day it was and how good he felt.
Uh-huh.
You know, come right down to it, Barney was happier than he's been in some time. Just seemed like all his troubles were gone.
Well, we know how you feel about this, Mr. Norton, but it's pretty important. Did you ever hear Mr. Lawrence threaten his wife?
I'm going to have to take your word for it as being pretty important, Mr. Friday. I've got no way of knowing, but if you guys get me in the middle of anything, I'm going to be pretty sore about it.
Well, don't worry about that.
Well, and to answer your question, Barney and Ethel didn't get along very well. I guess you knew that. Divorce and all, Ethel accusing Barney of running around, they had some pretty big arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Barney was pretty mad at the judge when he got the alimony. He had to pay Ethel $150 a month. Made him pretty sore. But the judge said to pay it or go to jail. Ethel would just as soon see him in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Barney used to talk to me about it. We'd stop down the street and have a beer when we closed up the shop. Barney would say there was only 2 ways he could get out of the alimony payments.
Well?
One was if Ethel got married again, and Barney always said she was so mean that no sane man would have her.
What about the other way?
That was for her to die.
Mm.
I guess that was about the only threat he ever made so I could hear it.
What's that?
That he wouldn't mind helping her out.
11:47 p.m. We drove over to the address we'd gotten for Bernard Lawrence. It was a modern apartment building in the Wilshire district. We rang the bell to his apartment, but we got no answer. Frank and I talked to the manager of the building, and he let us into the suspect's apartment. In a preliminary search of the place, we found nothing to tie the man in with his wife's death. However, from the clothes and the other personal effects in the place, we were reasonably sure that he'd returned to the apartment. The manager told us that Lawrence had come home after work, changed his clothes, and left, saying that he'd return later. We put in a call to the office, and we told them where we were, and we made arrangements to be relieved the next morning in the event the suspect hadn't returned. Frank and I settled down in our car, which was parked across the street from the apartment, to wait for Lawrence. At 1:30, Frank went down to the corner and called Fay to tell her he'd be a little late. He brought back a carton of hot coffee and some sandwiches. The stakeout continued. 2:30, still no sign of the suspect. 3:30, 4. At 5:30 a.m., the landlord came to the porch of the apartment house and yelled at us, indicating he wanted to tell us something. Frank went over to see him while I waited in the car. A couple of minutes later, Frank came running back.
Joe? Joe?
Yeah.
Manager just got a call from Lawrence.
What about?
Lawrence wanted to have his stuff packed and sent down to the depot.
Yeah?
Said he's leaving town.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfields for me, too.
Far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. The best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
5:42 a.m. We called the business office and had arrangements made to check the reservation lists on trains going east. We also set up stakeouts on the depots and on the airline terminals in the event the suspect changed his mind about taking the train. 2 officers came out and relieved us at the apartment. The manager of the apartment was instructed to notify the officers on stakeout in the event he heard from Lawrence. 6:12 a.m. Frank and I drove back downtown. We went to the business office and got out a local and an APB on the suspect. We checked out of the office to go home and change our clothes, and at 8:46 a.m., we met back in the squad room.
Well, you made it fast, huh, Joe?
Yeah, carton of coffee there if you want some.
No, thanks. I got something to eat on the way in.
No?
Any word?
No, not yet. Lawrence still hasn't showed up at the apartment. There's nothing from the depot steakhouse.
Oh, man, I'd sure like to get some sleep.
Well, I'm with you there.
You know, Faye's sure sore.
What about last night?
Yeah, had it all planned that we were going to a movie tonight. Always plans it on my day off.
Well.
You know, we have dinner and go down to the neighborhood. Kind of nice. She looks forward to it.
What's that got to do with last night?
Well, this is my day off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it says in the schedule.
And I'm working, right?
Yeah.
Well, I worked all last night, too. Huh?
Yeah.
Gonna be no movie tonight.
I don't follow you.
Well, I'm gonna sleep. As soon as I get home, I'm gonna climb right into the shower, dry off, into bed. Gonna sleep the clock around. That's why.
Mm-hmm. We got to talk to Skipper this morning.
Is he in yet?
Yeah, he's down at Chief Brown's office.
Mm-hmm. You fill him in?
Yeah, a little bit. He goes along with us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's check R&I. I want to look at that arrest report on Lawrence, see if any of his friends are listed. We might be able to get a lead on him. Better find out if he made that call he was supposed to have made when he was gone from work, huh?
Yeah. The way it looks, he's still in town.
Well, that doesn't do us a lot of good unless we know where.
Well, we can go out and talk to the fellow that found the body. He might be able to come up with something.
Better put a stake out on the garage where Lawrence worked, too. He might show up there.
Right. I'll get Norton on the phone. Tell him to let us know if he hears anything.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing looks pretty clean. All we got to do is put Lawrence at his wife's house this afternoon. We got it made.
There's only one trouble.
Yeah?
We got to find him before we can put him there. After putting in the call to the garage where the suspect was employed and arranging for a stakeout on the place, Frank and I checked the arrest record that had been made out 4 years previously and obtained a list of his friends and relatives. We contacted each one of them, but they could give us no information on Lawrence. That morning, we met with Captain Lorman, and we went over the evidence with him. The fingerprints found at the scene of the murder had been eliminated when they were compared with those of the neighbor, Earl Brudig. Other physical evidence netted us nothing. The murder weapon still had not been found. The only piece of evidence that we had to attempt to identify the killer was the plaster cast of the footprint found by the side of the house. However, Lee Jones said that it would be of little use other than to identify the size of the shoe. It was a size 10 with a leather sole and a leather heel. There were no distinguishing marks on the impression. 2 days went by and we still hadn't found Lawrence. We talked to the men he worked with, but none of them could supply us with any information as to his possible whereabouts. We checked the bars he was known to frequent without results. Apparently, the suspect had disappeared without a trace. On Saturday, June 14th, 3 days after the murder, Frank and I got back to the office after lunch.
You want to check the book?
Yeah.
Where can I find Joe Friday?
I'm him.
I'm Barney Lawrence.
Well, we've been looking for you.
I want you to get off my back. Leave me alone.
You mind telling us where you've been for the past 3 days?
It's none of your business. The only reason I'm here now is I want to tell you to stop going around asking a lot of questions, causing me embarrassment.
What do you mean by that?
You know what I mean. I don't mind telling you I'm pretty sore about the things you said behind my back. You probably didn't think I'd find out about them. But I did, and I'm telling you to stop.
You ought to take it easy, Lawrence.
You keep your nose out of this, cop. I'm talking to him. I got a few things for you, too, before I leave.
Yeah? I don't think you're going to leave.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just what it sounded like. You're under arrest.
For what?
Suspicion of murder.
You figured I killed Ethel?
You look good for it.
Then you better get a pair of glasses, cop. I'm walking out of here, and if you're smart, you won't try to stop me.
I wouldn't try it, Lawrence. Lawrence? Now, hold it. If you haven't done anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about. Now, come on back here.
You know something?
What's that?
I've always wanted to hit a cop.
Oh. Come on, Lawrence. On your feet.
Keep your hands off me, cop. Just keep your hands off me.
All right, now sit down. Right here. Sit down. Go ahead. We're investigating a murder. Someone beat your wife to death. We're trying to find who did it.
Well, it wasn't me.
You got a funny way of showing it. The suspect was booked in at the main jail on suspicion of murder. Lawrence put in a call to his lawyer, and arrangements were made to have him released on bond. Frank and I attempted to interrogate him before he was booked, but he refused to answer any questions we put to him. The following morning, we met with he and his lawyer. Again, we ran into the same stubborn silence. At 11:30 a.m., we met with Captain Lorman and Chief Detective Thad Brown. We laid out the evidence we had. From all appearances, we had the guilty man in custody, but it might be difficult to prove in a court of law. The one thing we'd been unable to establish was Lawrence's presence in the house at the time of the murder. It was decided that without being able to prove this, we would have little chance of getting a complaint from the district attorney's office. Frank and I started re-questioning the neighbors. None of them could tell us any more than they already had. We re-questioned the man who'd found the body, Earl Brudig. He came up with the additional information that there had been a crew of carpenters working on a house the day of the killing. The building was located next door to him, directly across the street from the place where the murder had been committed. We questioned the carpenters. None of them could tell us anything. However, there was one man who had been working on the construction that we were unable to reach. It took us several days before we were able to find him. On Wednesday, June 18th, we got to his house at 7:30 a.m., just before he left for work. He asked us to talk to him in the kitchen of his home.
I'm just having breakfast. Fix you guys something to eat?
No, thanks, Mr. Hewitt. We don't want to take up much of your time here.
Oh, don't worry about that. What's this about anyway?
We understand that you were working on a job on Green Oak Drive on the 10th of June. Is that right?
Let me think. Yeah, 9700 block. Yeah, I was there. Why?
You worked there all day, did you?
That's right. Left the place around 5:30. Say this about that woman that was murdered?
Yes, sir.
You got the fellow that did it?
Well, we think we know where he is.
You guys like a cup of coffee?
Yeah, fine. We'll join you.
Yeah, thanks.
Either of you use sugar?
No, thanks.
No, thanks, sir.
Don't see how you can drink coffee without it. Always use 2 spoons myself. That's good. Well, say, if you know who did the killing, how come he isn't in jail?
We need a little more evidence before we can take him to court.
That's why you're talking to me, huh?
That's right. A couple things you might be able to straighten us out on.
Why me?
Well, we've talked to the other men in the crew. Seems like you're the only one left.
Comes right back to me, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
What's the matter, Hewitt?
Gotta sit down.
What's wrong, Hewitt? What's the matter? You sick?
Poison in the sugar. I've been expecting it.
Frank, get an ambulance, quick.
Yeah.
What kind of poison, Hewitt? What kind?
There's nothing you can do now. I know this is wrong, taking poison. I killed the old lady. I killed her.
Ambulance on the way, Joe.
No hurry. He's dead.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 23rd, an inquest was held in offices of the coroner in and for the county of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or 2 for yourself. Smoke 'em and you'll say as we do, it's Chesterfield's for me.
At the inquest, it was ruled that the suspect, Merle Patrick Hewitt, died of self-administered poison, and his death was listed as a suicide. The victim's husband, Bernard Jerome Lawrence, was released from custody.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the editors of Time magazine for their cover story of Jack Webb and Dragnet. That's Time magazine, on your newsstands this Thursday.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters, the one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste, much more flavor, much less nicotine, the right length for effective filtration. Only the L&M filter contains the miracle product alpha cellulose, the purest material for filtering cigarette smoke. Yes, this is it. As Ann Sheridan puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the light and mild smoke.
Hear Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the guy from Gower, Gulch.
It's a gray building, about the color of moldy bread. It's an apartment house in the middle of Hollywood, and it figures that the guy who built it quit voting when they named the street it sits on, Taft Avenue. My place is furnished with war surplus from the Spanish-American War. Well, it's got a hat rack, and that's where I live, number 308. In back, where you get a view and some fresh air from the alley. One's about as bad as the other. But I got it fixed up kind of nice. Hot plate, coffee pot, an autographed picture of Sally Rand that somebody left there. The only mistake I made was putting in a telephone. It spoils a lot of things.
Regan, Mr. Lyon, wake up. We got a job.
Why don't you sleep at night?
Lucky for you, I got insomnia. We go broke.
Try Ovaltine. What kind of a job?
How should I know? Get your clothes on.
Well, what are you doing, reading the want ads?
I got a note from a client.
You mean you got money?
$100 is all. Says he'll match it if we run him an errand.
Where to? Santa Ana Canyon?
He'll tell you.
You know, if you got morals like a cash register, can he write his name?
Davy Crockett. He's 50 years old.
Well, he's a little old for cowboys and Indians, isn't he?
That's his name, Davy Crockett.
Well, when's the wagon train pull out?
Regan, I don't know how I stand for you. Get over there.
Get where?
Listen, a guy works pretty hard. Building up a business like I have takes a lot out of him.
You got plenty on tap.
I just want you to understand, that's all. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, sometimes you got to play your hunches.
Like George Gallup.
This time I got a feeling the guy's okay. He writes like a gentleman, Regan. I want you to treat him like one.
Well, where do I find him?
He's in a location can give us a lot of business.
Where?
The city jail.
Yeah, that's the Lion. Born under the sign of the dollar. Well, it happened on Monday night, and I found the Lincoln Heights jail looking real tired after a rough weekend. They were putting fresh creosote on the walls in front of the drunk tank, and the guy at the desk looked like he'd burst his radiator if anybody phoned for another reservation. It was about 1 a.m., but after a couple of jokes I know about alligators, Sergeant Gonzalez hauled out a drawer with some cards in it. Under C, he found it. Full name, David Crockett, cell 273, solitary. Gonzalez walked me through a couple of corridors, and then he opened his cell and let me inside. Davy Crockett was there, awake and standing up. He was about 4 feet high, skinny, with a head like a sunburned turnip. He had blue veins roaming all over his nose and a handlebar mustache to hold him up. He looked at me like I was holding the fifth ace.
Howdy, stranger.
My name's Regan, International Detective Bureau.
How do I know? Start anything and I'll set up a racket.
Now, I work for the Lion. You called him.
Maybe yes, maybe no. You got credentials?
Where do you want him?
Easy, son. Not talking to an amateur. Flyweight champion, Buenos Aires, 29. Grab yourself a squat, partner.
All right. What are you so nervous about?
Nothing. Precautious, that's all.
All right, look, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What are you locked up for?
Fire plug. Got him in the dangest places in this burg.
What'd you do, steal it for your dog?
No. Parked my landlady's car alongside it while I ran an errand.
You don't get jugged for traffic tickets.
There were 2 cops. Looked like a posse. I don't like injustice.
All right, resisting arrest, is that all?
What more do you want? Told you I'm not a man to be trampled with. Taught judo in Tokyo, 34.
The Japs still lost the war.
Sit still, Regan. You're working.
On what?
Well, it's just another errand. It's not much.
Well, come on, let's pick up the tempo, will you? My bicycle's double parked.
Say, you ever get saddle sores on a bicycle? I did once. 8-day race.
Yeah, I know. Now, what about this errand?
Little package wrapped up in a sweater. In the alley by the ash can.
Go on.
I calculate I dropped it about 3.5 feet to the left of the big ash can.
By accident?
Man can't fight with his hands full. I wrote down the address for you here.
All right. What's in that sweater you didn't want the cops to see?
A polecat.
That fits the rest of your story, yeah.
son, there's nothing in the life of Davy Crockett won't stand inspection. When you get the package, check it in at the Union Station.
And then what?
Save me the stub. You get 100.
Save it for bail. You could do this job yourself.
That's what I told you, Sonny. I'd like to be lonesome.
So you had him lock you up on purpose?
No, I just like it here. You want a reference? Check any of the boys in Gower Gulch.
Movie cowboy, huh?
Laddie, you're looking at the greatest jockey since Paul Revere. Eddie Sands to Eddie Arcaro. I beat them all. Kentucky Downs, 39.
Yeah, sure. Well, a job's a job, Davy, but I got a hot tip where I fit in.
Where's that?
Trailing the field. Well, I left the little man running his fingers through an old copy of Variety, and I went out into the street. It was about 3 o'clock, and a truck was throwing some water out and giving the gutter a shampoo. I picked up my car and started out to play retriever. That's when I spotted the blonde tailing me. She was using a 37 Packard, and the top was down. I could see her in the mirror. I could tell she had yellow hair like a rag doll. It took a few fast turns to get rid of her, but then I was solo when I pulled to a stop by the alley off Gower. It was in back of some old movie studios. About then, a drunk came pouring down the street, did a loop around a fire plug at the head of the alley, and sat down. He was the talented kind, and I figured he thought I was Arthur Godfrey. Well, I scrambled over some broken beer bottles looking for the sweater. It finally showed, lying beside a pack of newspaper and some dame's torn petticoat. That's when the drunk lost his tilt and began looking at me. I picked up an old shoe, I wrapped it in a newspaper, and I started out of the alley. The drunk went back to his audition, moving toward me.
Marie, the dawn is breaking, Marie, you'll soon be waking. Hiya, friend, have a drink.
That's not my brand.
Don't be a mug. A little drink between friends is real nice.
Well, we haven't been introduced.
My name's Maxwell. What's yours?
Slipped my mind.
That's the trouble with the whole world. No fellowship. Except for my girl, Marie. You know Marie?
No, I don't.
Sort of short and plump with a little sinus trouble.
It's too bad.
Thought you might have met her. Lots of fellowship in that girl. Every time you look, another fella.
All right, move it, buddy.
Now, you don't want to get by me, friends. You want to stand right there and have a little drink.
You got the subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Here, what's in the package?
Dirty laundry.
Ain't that funny, though? I just got me a new Bendix.
Why don't you go into business?
That's what I'm going to do. You're my first customer.
No, I lux my dainties.
Yeah, don't go away, friend. I ain't through with my sales talk.
Well, hire a skywriter.
Hold up, I said.
Get your hands off of me.
All right, Regan, the round's over.
Yeah, what makes you the referee?
This does.
Friend here wants to play rough, Red.
Reconsider, Regan. It'll make you happy.
All right, what do you want?
The package.
You heard what he said, smart guy.
What if you work for it?
Grab him, Max. Don't leave, Regan. We're not finished.
I got the package, Red.
Give him a tip for picking it up.
Sure.
Oh.
Guess I overpaid him.
Well, it was easy to see it was their play. I had about as much chance as a midget in a basketball game. The muscles ambled off with the package that they took from me, and I crawled back for that sweater. It was still there, wrapped around something hard and round. And when I ripped it off, a shine caught my eye. It was a metal can of movie film, and the word Peru was marked on it. Not much for all the hush-hush, but it must have had a story. Well, I looked up a friend of mine who owned a camera shop, and I made a commotion with a $5 bill. That shook the sand out of him, and he rented me a projector with sound. The Lyons house was the next stop. We threw up a sheet on the wall and turned on the film. That completed the night. We had a trip to a good neighbor without a passport. Turned out to be a Joan Fitzpatrick giving us some kind of a travelogue.
The most colorful in the world. A temple of worship. Home of Peru, 2,000 years old. Perfect in a movie.
Well, stop screaming, will you? It's free.
You know I can't stand movies. I got sore eyes.
All right, shut up and listen to this.
Peru, the marketplace. A street vendor dressed in gay native costumes, selling delicacies to Peruvian children. Beads and jewels of exquisite beauty wrought by the hands of master Peruvian artisans. Horse racing and innovations from the modern world. And native dance.
I'm going to bed.
You won't sleep. I stole your eyeshade.
Oh, Regan, I got to get up early. I got lots to do.
It'll keep.
A veritable symphony of motion. And so, it's with heavy heart we say adieu to lovely Peru, land of the Peruvians, land of charm and enchantment. And with the setting sun, we take our leave.
Well, what'd you get out of it?
A headache.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning.
No, I can't wait.
What you doing now?
I'm phoning the city jail.
Looking for a room?
Looking for information. Davey will supply it.
You've been drinking.
Now listen, big shot. Somebody's after this film for some reason. I'm going to find it.
City Jail, Sergeant Gonzalez speaking.
Danny's Regan.
Oh, hiya, Regan. I'm glad you called. I just got that joke about the alligators.
Now, well, do me a favor, will you?
Sure, pal, sure. See, I told it to the lieutenant. He's still laughing. You know, it may earn me a promotion, pal.
Let me talk to Davy Crockett.
Oh, I can't do that, Regan.
Well, you can say I'm his lawyer.
Well, it's not that, pal. He's not here anymore.
What do you mean?
Some guy bailed him out 20 minutes ago. When I was telling the lieutenant the joke, this guy in the briefcase comes in, slaps down the bail. Out walks your friend.
Well, he said he liked it there.
And Davey must have changed his mind.
Where'd he go?
Not very far. Just over to the morgue.
Well, the cowboy from Gower Gulch had spun his last yarn. Gonzalez told me that somebody had shot Crockett as soon as he hit the street. Oh, none of this made sense. The phony job, the blonde who tails me, the fight in the alley, the corny movie. Now, the lion shoved the film in a desk, and I went out the door. I cut across his yard, but I stopped on the opposite sidewalk. My car wasn't alone. There was a 40-foot nag sniffing at its rear fender.
Hey, Regan.
Well, Maxwell.
That's me.
You look different. Did you take the cure?
Shut up. Somebody wants to see you.
If it's Marie, tell her my book's full.
Thought you might like a lift.
No, I got a friend who runs a streetcar, and I go on, beat it.
Regan, don't be that way.
Offer him a panatella, Maxwell.
Who's this, your father-in-law?
You smoke, Regan?
No, it might explode.
Yeah.
So long.
Hold it, Dusty. Get in.
Oh, Max. Max, I told you before, you're on probation.
That's all right. Don't pick on him, teacher. He didn't hurt me.
Get in front, Max.
Sure.
Where's your other boy, Red? We could play some bridge.
I thought he'd do better in the shoe business.
The one I gave him didn't fit, huh?
I'm a much misunderstood man, Mr. Regan. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward.
I'd love to.
My card, Horace Grundy. Sometime earlier, a little man called me, Mr. Regan. Custer or Boone or...
Davy Crockett?
Of course. I want you to understand I get many such calls.
Party line.
It's a private number, but the salesmen bother me anyway.
Well, it's tough to be popular. Davy tell you what he was selling?
No.
Well, he didn't tell me either.
Have it your own way. When I told him I'd meet him, he said he'd arranged to get out of jail. He said all he wanted was a job.
And he got one.
Yes, only there's no future to it. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to you, Mr. Regan.
I'll renew my insurance.
Oh, no, you'll come with me. It's more friendly.
Suppose I don't like to talk.
You won't have to, if everything goes all right.
Well, it's your taxi.
And you're paying the fare. All right, Maxwell. Cloverfield.
I never knew a guy could say the name of an airport and make it sound like Forest Lawn. Grundy sat in the corner checking the manicure on his fingernails, and Maxwell drove out of Olympic. By the time we skidded into Clover, I figured absolutely nothing. It was still only 4 a.m., but there was a string of cars parked in the lot. I spotted a 37 Packard Roadster, but I was too busy getting rushed up onto the field to look for the blonde. Besides, the faster we ran, the more excited Grundy got. And then we rounded a hangar, and the reporters hit us.
Say, Louis B's pretty sore, huh?
No, Louis B. and I are friends. Just his plugs are burned. Put it through, boys.
Hey, wait a second. This Julio who's traveling on the plane. They say he wants $250,000. You're going to pay him today?
After I see a workout. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Yeah, you're a real big man, Grundy.
I'm going to be, Regan. El Romano. Best rep of any horse in South America.
So that's it, huh? Where the ruins come from.
What's that?
Peru?
Oh, sure. Peruvian National Airways gave Julio a special plane. Everything special.
Like in the movies. Well, look, suppose you watch him unload. I'll take a back seat here.
Oh, no, Regan. This is a big day. I want you to see what's the ambulance for.
Well, don't look at me.
Stick around, Regan. It could be you.
Hey, get that stretcher over there.
Oh, he kicked me, hit me, kicked me.
It's Julio.
That's the guy who owns him?
Must be.
I tried to hold him. The halter black. Oh, my ribs. Take it easy, boy. We got you.
What happened?
Bounce. The landing she is rough, that is all. Where is the doctor?
We're going to the hospital. Lie down.
I'm broken in 6 places.
Lift up the stretcher. Come on, boys. Hurry it up.
Oh, he kicked me. Move fast, boys. Yes, hot.
Hey, Mr. Grundy!
Mr. Grundy, the horse!
Well, the guy on the plane started to yell just about the time they took Julio toward the rear of the ambulance. Grundy took a dive for the cargo door, and so did everybody else. Then I had to stand there while 6 feet of Big Shot cigar turned into a crybaby.
Look, Regan. Look at the horse's leg. He's kicked himself.
Okay, so he's clumsy.
But he might not run again. He was going to be mine, Regan.
That's too bad. Call a vet.
I have already paid $50,000 retainer on the horse, Regan.
I'll send you a lawyer.
I got an idea you're connected with this.
Oh, dry up, Buster. It's an accident.
Yeah? I got an idea there's going to be another accident.
Grundy, maybe you're right.
Go!
Hey, stop him! I didn't wait to see if he went down. Maxwell swung, but I took off through the crowd. It figured that Cloverfield wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to stick around for the daisies. And then I spotted a ride, the rear end of Julio's ambulance. I made it just as the buggy started to move. I pulled the door shut and tried not to step on that stretcher inside. I shouldn't even have bothered that. The stretcher was empty. The only patient was me.
You are listening to the story of the guy from Gower Gulch. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you were interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
Well, things were beginning to move like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Davy Crockett sent me out to pick up a roll of movie film. A Joan Fitzpatrick travelogue on beautiful Peru. There was something in it that was hot, but Crockett got himself plugged before he could say what it was. There were shots of a horse race in Peru. And when a big buster named Grundy turns up buying a nag from a Peruvian breeder, I figured a connection. So did I. When the horse got hurt and Julio did a disappearing act with his money, everybody looked at me. That's when I took the shortest way to Hollywood in an ambulance, got in my car, and made it for home. Only parked up the street from my apartment was that same 37 Packard Roadster I'd been dodging all evening. The blonde wasn't in it. She was sitting in my place looking real hopeful.
Good evening. You keep late hours, Mr. Regan.
No, it's the kind of friends I've got.
Perhaps you ought to change them.
I'll stick it out. What do you want?
A little chance to talk to you.
It'll keep till morning.
Oh, but Mr. Regan, I've been waiting so long, you've got to talk to me now.
Why?
I'm Davy Crockett's wife. You've got something that belongs to me.
I don't see any wedding ring.
I don't wear one.
Scare off the other boys?
That's not a very nice remark, Mr. Regan.
No, but you'll let it go.
Only because it's not important.
Oh, stop it. You're not Davy's wife. If the little guy had anybody he could trust, he wouldn't have had to call him a lion.
All right, Mr. Regan. I lied.
Now, let's have it, lady. What are you after?
A roll of film.
That figures.
It's mine.
Convince me.
Mr. Regan, you're becoming very annoying.
Well, why don't you call the police?
But I tell you, it is mine.
Let's see the pink slip.
And so it is with heavy heart we bid adieu
That's
to...
enough. Yeah. I thought I knew that voice.
Davy stole the roll from my library. Now may I have it back?
Homicide will turn it over to you when they're ready.
I can't wait.
Well, what makes it so valuable?
I'm not sure.
Then how do you know it is?
Because I'm not stupid, Mr. Regan. Somebody goes to a lot of trouble to break into my film library. But he only steals one roll of film.
Go on.
I put the police on Davy, follow them to the jail. So you go after the film. That adds up to pretty important business.
Did you push those holes in Davy?
Of course not.
Yeah, you're going to get a chance to prove that when Homicide starts speaking in your cupboard.
About the film, I'll buy it from you.
No sale. There's the door, lady. Use it. I threw the light switch and grabbed for the floor. When the noise stopped, I looked up. My landlady was going to be mad. The shots plowed a few holes into her flower pot. The blonde turned a couple of different colors and decided she could find safer company. She left with a fire escape without even goodbye. Well, I headed for the Lions. The idea being to make sure that he'd turn that film over to the police and advertise that I didn't have it anymore. I figured to cool me off and I could catch some sleep again. When I got there, the lion looked kind of excited. He was wrapped up in a silk robe with red and gray stripes, and he carried a drink to match. He was holding a piece of that movie film up to the light.
Hey, Regan, I've been calling all over for you. Where you been?
I'm looking for a bed.
I don't pay you to sleep. You're on a job. Now, I've been thinking since you left. We're handling this wrong.
Yeah, now that's what I figured. Get on the phone.
What for?
To tell Homicide you got a package for him. You're turning over that film right now.
Easy.
You heard me, Big Shot. I'm tired of playing the fall guy.
Now, Regan, you don't know what you're saying. I've been running over the section on that Peruvian horse race. And you know what?
You picked the winner.
And we're going to collect.
Who's making books?
The insurance company.
Well, come on, clear it up.
Look at this clip.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see? What do you see?
Looks like a horse.
But look at him. He's way out in front. El Romano.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here's the way I add it up. This film tells a story, or everybody wouldn't be grubbing around for it.
Well, now, that takes a big brain.
So somebody's engineering a phony.
Who?
That's what you're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. That nag's insured by Banner Trust, and they pay off big if we can turn up the swindle.
All right. Give me that picture.
Where you going?
Over to Grundy's to check the horse.
Now you're talking, Regan. You dig that out and we'll be eating squab.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll be collecting your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, payoff's about the same. I didn't like it any better than a fan dancer like the wind tunnel. I'd already seen enough of Grundy and his boys for one night, but when the lion gets an idea, he's like a hangman with a new rope. So I went out to test it. I found Horace Grundy's place. It was a bright new house in the San Fernando Valley. There was some fancy fence in back, and a stable looked like the paint was still wet where it said El Romano. A trailer was parked on the road with a truck from the veterinarians. When Grundy opened the front door, it looked like he'd been sitting a 3-day wake, but without any beer.
Hello, Regan.
Well, what's the verdict?
It's bad, Regan. Bad. Tendons torn. Never run. Never.
Yeah, you said that.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh. I knew somebody else liked animals. A guy from Gower, Gulch.
Decided to talk?
Maybe. If you keep your hands in the audience.
What else did Crockett say?
Now you got him on the wheel.
All right, you drive.
That's better. You know the horse is insured?
Not by me, it isn't.
You don't own it. You just paid a deposit.
Sure, 50 G's.
You got it back yet?
There's plenty of time. Julio's in the hospital.
Oh? Well, now, if it wasn't for the accident, you would have coughed up another $200,000.
Yes. No. Oh, what difference does it make? The whole deal's a bust now.
Well, that horse is a phony.
Say some more, Regan.
I don't know much more. Davy Crockett was a movie fan.
You're doing fine. You had pictures?
I wouldn't advertise them, but there's a shot of a horse winning a race. Take a look here.
Give me that.
All right, it's economy size. You're going to ruin your eyesight.
I got a magnifying glass for my income tax.
Now, let's get a light behind it. Now, let's see.
Horse.
You get a star.
4 white feet.
I can do that well myself.
Listen, Regan. Horse in the stable's got 3.
That does it. My boss gets promoted.
Come on outside. I'll show you.
No, I'll take your word for it. Let go of me. I got my information.
Maxwell, where are you?
I told you, don't whistle the bulldogs.
You're in it now, Regan. You're on my side.
I drop your blood pressure. There's a handkerchief on the plate.
Hey, wait. Hello. I look for somebody. Good morning.
Pan America.
See, I'm Julio. Is Mr. Grundy?
It's the guy with his mouth open there.
How do you do? I'm so glad to meet and
talk. Choke it.
Okay?
You switch horses.
No, you'll not understand. El Romano, he kicked me.
Wait for the encore.
Mr. Grundy, with belief, I'm telling you.
Now, look, you better make it fast, Julio. This guy goes
Shut
off.
up, Regan. A man trades a stretcher for a slab. Let him talk.
The hospital. I did not go. Julio is honest. A debt comes first.
The interest's going up.
When El Romano hurts himself, I know the deal is off. I know I must see the consul, so we cash the check.
What?
Here we are. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your down payment is up. Now we are one big happy United Nations, no?
Well, that's what happened. Now there were 2 guys with their mouths open. By the time we got them closed, the little gent from Peru had waddled off someplace, and Grundy folded his money and started to laugh. He was happy, and at least I had what I came for. Figured I could dump the whole plate of spaghetti on the lion. The lead horse in the travelogue was a different nag from the one in the stable. So I got in my car and headed for home. But I picked up a newspaper on the corner, and then the whole bucket turned upside down again. The green sheet was loaded with publicity shots of El Romano from South America. And he was exactly the same oat burner that came in on the plane, feet and all. No switch there. Well, there was something phony in this act. It was that winner in that Fitzpatrick film. Well, for a minute I felt like a test pilot in a yo-yo factory, and then the string broke. I took a fast run to the Lions and one more look at those movies. I had it. The case was beginning to wind. 10 minutes later, I was back on Gower Gulch.
Yes? Who is it?
Regan, you alone?
Don't be insulting.
I'll open the door. What's the matter? You're slow.
What do you want?
Ask me in.
No.
Ask me in.
Regan, look out!
Be careful, Regan. I have a gun.
Well, Julio.
Yes, Julio.
What are you doing here?
Well, I told you.
I know. Back at my place, you're aiming at her, not me. She's been to Peru. She has the films. You knew that.
You whistle like I know.
I go to the movies like everybody else. I keep my eyes on the winner. After Hollywood Park, I should have known better.
Yeah, there are lots of races.
El Romano was a dud. He came in last. 60 lengths with Davy Crockett digging in the spurs. You gave the nag a build-up, phony publicity to sucker an insurance company.
$250,000, I was over.
Can it? You could have never closed a sale without Grundy watching a workout. That would have been a slow boat to China.
You want to be a sailor, too?
Oh, stop being tough, will you? You wore yourself out when you kicked up El Romano in that plane.
It looked good.
Yeah, not to me or Joan.
Look out, Regan. You're asking for a daily double.
Well, I'm going to take it across the board. Give me that gun.
Leave me
Stop
alone. No, you're breaking my arm.
That's the idea.
I'll kick you in the stomach.
You better go back to his stretcher.
Well,
Yeah.
you can be useful.
Well, when I'm working.
What about after hours? I'm not bad, you know.
No, I never noticed.
Look again.
No, I'm all through with the ponies.
Want to bet?
Davy Crockett told me to play my hunches.
Here I am.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
What do you mean?
You threw those holes into Davy.
It was Julio.
Oh, you're trying real hard, but he was on the plane.
What do I do now?
Well, you might bid a fondue to Gower Gulch.
That's not funny, Regan.
I know it. But you ran out of film. Well, the whole thing blew up like a hoop skirt in a high wind. Julio had a real good thing until he ran into the little man with a good memory and a dame with a fast trigger finger. Her blackmail pitch was already set up, but Davy figured to queer it, so she had to knock him off. Well, the hospital boys came after Julio, and homicide dated Joan, the travel queen. The Lion was pretty excited about the way things worked out. He figured that the insurance company would come across with some green stuff for exposing a fraud. They did. That was the color of the season pass they gave him to the Burton Holmes travel lectures.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Leo Clary, Clayton Post, Yvonne Patey, Ed Begley, and Herb Ellis. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage in her work. Don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles, Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to hit-and-run felony detail. A young woman has been run down and seriously injured. The driver of the car has fled from the scene. Your job, find him. Today, friends, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made, for the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 7th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of traffic bureau, hit-and-run felony detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Calfee. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 8:40 a.m. when we got to 1784 Byram Street. Front door.
Better try it again, huh?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Sounds like somebody coming.
Yeah? Something you want?
Miss Hunter?
That's right. What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Oh, about the thing last night, huh?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Well, come on in. I can't stand around for long. I'm going to be late for work as it is. Come on.
Thank you. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do?
Hi. Sit down there. I got to get ready to leave. There's some coffee there in the carafe if you want some.
No, thank you.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Would you mind pouring me a cup? You'll find everything right there on the table. 2 sugars.
All right.
What do you want to know about last night? I told the officers who were there all I know.
Yes, ma'am, we know. We read their report. We'd like to go over it with you if it's all right.
Seems like a waste of time to me. Spend a little more of it trying to catch the kid that hit the girl. It'd be better all the way around.
Yes, ma'am. There's your coffee.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, too warm. Either one of you got a cigarette?
Yes, ma'am. Here you are.
Here's line.
Thanks. What do you want to go over?
Well, according to what you said to the officers last night, you saw the accident. Is that right?
I saw it, yeah. I don't think it was an accident. If you ask me, I think the kid deliberately hit the girl, deliberately.
Why do you say that?
Well, just the way it looked, that's all. Kind of feeling. Way he came barreling around the corner. He must have seen her. She was right under the light, didn't even make an attempt to stop, none at all.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her, the girl, step off the curb. Right under the light. He had to see her, had to. Anyway, she stepped off the curb and started to cross the street. Hearing me saw her. She started to cross, and then all of a sudden this kid in the hot rod was coming right at her. Was there anything she could do?
Yes, ma'am.
She kind of looked up at the car and then, well, like she was going to run. But she didn't have time. The car hit her and knocked her down.
Did you get a good look at the car?
You mean the one that hit her?
Yes, ma'am.
You bet I did. Passed right under the light. Got a real good look at it.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you'd describe it for us.
I told the cops all about it last night. Seems like that'd be enough. Why do I have to go through it again?
Well, there might be something you didn't think of last night, Miss Hunter, something you might have forgotten.
Isn't likely, but if you got to have it, I guess that's the way it's got to be. Hope we can get it over with fast enough. I got to get down to the corner so I won't miss my bus.
Well, if it'd help, we can drive you to work. You can give us the information on the way.
Well, that'll be fine. Wait a minute, I'll get my coat.
Uh-huh.
How'd it look when you came in?
Ma'am?
Did it look like it was going to rain?
No, it's pretty cold, though.
Paper said it might rain today. Well, better take an umbrella.
What kind of a car was it, Miss Hunter?
A hot rod. You know the kind. Real low. 2 exhaust pipes kind of beat up.
Well, what kind of a car was it? The brand name?
I guess it was a Ford. Looked like one.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to tell. It was kind of banged up, you know. I don't know why the police allow cars like that on the streets anyway. It couldn't be very safe.
Can you tell us what year the car was?
Well, I'm not real good at that, but I'd say maybe a 1940. It might have been 1941.
It was a pre-war car, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of that.
Would you like to get in, man?
Gee, thanks.
Where can we drop you, man?
Near First and Broadway will be fine, just on the corner there.
Okay.
Miss Hunter, was there anything about the car that'd make it easier to identify?
Not especially. Black Ford, all beat up. I'm sure I'd know it if I saw it again, any place.
Did you get a good look at the driver of the car?
No, not too good. All I could see was that he was a kid, you know, maybe 19, 20 years old.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see you get that kid. Is the girl all right? She looked pretty bad last night.
Well, she's still in a critical condition. Doctors aren't sure yet whether she'll be all right.
Sure hope she is. Have you talked to her?
No, we haven't. Not yet.
It's a terrible thing. Kids like that running around in hot rods, barreling around the city. A person's not safe on the streets anymore.
Well, just because a car's got twin tailpipes, Miss Hunter, doesn't have to be a hot rod.
Well, this one was. Even had the little sort of license plate hanging down from the back bumper.
You mean a state license plate?
No, one of those with a club name on it. You know the kind.
There's not a notation of that on the report that we remember.
I guess I forgot all the excitement and all. Must have forgot.
Well, did you see the name on that plate?
Yeah. Not real good, but I saw it.
Think you can remember it?
Not all of it. The last part was wheels. Something wheels. 2 words.
You're pretty sure of that, are you?
Yeah, wheels. That's the word I saw. Didn't remember it last night. Guess it didn't seem important then. Must be a lot of cars that have those plates on them all over town.
Yes, we know.
Don't seem like it's going to help much. A lot of cars with those plates on them. Lots of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Even if you do find the kid with one of them, how are you going to know if he's the right one?
Well, it's not going to be too hard.
Huh?
His car will tell us. According to the report, an automobile driven by one male occupant had struck a woman while she crossed the intersection of Olympic Boulevard and Connecticut Street the night before. When the ambulance arrived at the scene, the victim, who was identified as Mrs. Helen Chapman, was unconscious and was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for emergency treatment. Members of the crime lab had arrived at the scene and gathered what physical evidence they could find. All citizens in the vicinity were interrogated and their statements were taken. Photographs of the coroner were made and held for evidence. Because of the hit-and-run aspect of the case, Frank and I had been assigned to investigate it. At 1:14 p.m., we drove over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital to talk to the attending physician, Dr. Sebastian. He said the patient's condition was so critical that she couldn't be moved to her own hospital. He told us that the victim hadn't recovered consciousness to the point where she could be questioned. He went on to tell us that she'd been administered serum albumin to counteract shock. He listed her injuries for us. Compound fractures of the femur, rib fractures, and associated internal injuries, including a punctured lung and brain concussion. It was not expected that she'd live. Frank and I left the doctor and walked down the hall. In the waiting room, we met a tall, thin man who looked as if he hadn't slept in several days. On the floor in front of him was a small pile of half-smoked cigarettes. He identified himself as the victim's husband, Carl Chapman.
I didn't know. I came home from work. They told me about it. I didn't even know.
Didn't they try to call you at work?
No, I guess they called the house. There wasn't anybody home. I just walked up to the door, and there was a note telling me to call there. Didn't even know about Helen.
I see. You like a cigarette, Chapman?
Thanks. You talked to the doctor?
Yes, sir, we just did.
Is there anything new? Is she going to be all right?
Well, I don't know yet. You can ask the doctor yourself.
Why don't anybody tell me anything? All the time I ask how my wife is, they tell me to ask the doctor. Why won't they tell me?
I don't know, sir.
Can't even find out if she needs anything. He won't let me see her. Anybody will tell me what's really happening in there. It's been over 10 hours. Nobody will tell me what's going on.
Well, best thing is try to sit down and take it easy, Mr. Chapman.
Oh, that's great to say. Just sit down. Easy to say. It's not your wife who's in there. It isn't someone you love. Why are you here, anyway? Why aren't you out trying to get the rotten little punk that did it? Why don't you look for him?
We'll get to him, sir.
When? After Helen's dead? Is that going to be when you start looking?
We're looking for him now. We came over in the hopes that we could talk to your wife. We thought she might be able to give us some information.
What in God's name do you want from her? The name and address of the kid who ran it down? Does she have to get out of bed and go find him for you? It's your job, yours. All this talk about the police department being so good, but what are you doing? You're standing around here with your toe in the dirt waiting for my wife to come to enough to point the kid out.
All right, sir. Now, take it easy.
Take it easy, nothing. You listen to me, both of you. You listen. If she dies, If that kid killed her, I'll find him. I don't know how, but I will. I'm going to do the same thing to him with my hands that he did with his car. I'll find him, I swear I'll find him, and I'm going to kill him. With my hands, I'm going to kill him.
Mr. Chapman?
Yeah.
May I see you for a moment?
Yeah.
Would you excuse us for a minute, Sergeant?
Sure, Doctor. We'll wait out in the hall. It's a rough one, isn't it?
Yeah. Wonder what's going on in there.
I don't know. Better call the skipper. Tell him about that plate on the car. Get a broadcast out on it. Check the phone book for the address of the National Hot Rod Association. Better talk with them, huh? They might have something for us on the club.
Right.
You better start, cop. You better find him fast because I'm looking too.
You ought to go home and get some sleep, Mr. Chapman. You're all worn out.
I'm not going to get any sleep until I catch that kid. Until I catch that kid.
How is the girl?
She's dead. Both of them are.
Both of them?
Yeah. She's going to have a baby in a couple of months.
3:15 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the offices of the National Hot Rod Association on Hollywood Boulevard. We met with Bud Coons and Wally Parks. They checked their records for clubs with the last name Wheels. There were 3 in their files. 2 were in the eastern part of the United States, and 1 was listed as having headquarters in Alhambra, California. We obtained the name and address of the president of the club, and we drove out to see him. We found him in the garage behind the house working on a 1941 Ford. We introduced ourselves, and he asked us to sit down.
What do you want to see me about?
We understand that you're the president of the Square Wheel, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Why?
How many members do you have in the club?
18. 18 actives. There's a couple of guys in the service. What's this all about, anyway? How come the questions?
All your members have the metal plates with the club name on their car?
Yeah. You get them when they pay the initiation fee. Why?
Anybody else have them?
Not legally.
What do you mean?
Well, a couple of them out, been stolen from members.
Any of the fellows in the club drive a black pre-war Ford?
Yeah, I guess we got about 5 of them. I got one myself, as a matter of fact. Listen, why can't you tell me what this is all about? Figure if I knew what you wanted, I could help you out.
Well, a woman was run down by a hot rod last night. One of the witnesses saw a plate on the car that might have been from your club.
No kidding.
That's the way we get it.
What did it look like?
Well, they say it had twin pipes, pretty well beat up, white sidewall tires.
It's not one of ours, then.
You sound pretty sure. What about the plate?
Well, I told you, we've had a couple of them stolen. Must have been one of them.
Well, how come you're so sure it wasn't one of your members?
Oh, I know the cars in the club. There isn't a yo-yo in the bunch.
What's a yo-yo?
Well, yeah, you know, a shot rod, junk heap.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. It seems like every time there's any trouble with a car over 5 years old, it's a hot rod. Sure not fair.
That's so.
Yeah. Hey, come here, I'll show you. Now, take a look at that. I've been working on it for 3 years. Got over $1,200 in it. Take a look at it.
It's a lot of motor.
Yeah, it's a good car, but what's it prove?
The car that ran that woman down wasn't a hot rod.
Well, how do you figure that?
You said it was a wreck, didn't you?
That's right.
We haven't got a wreck that's allowed on the streets in this club. I don't know a legal club that has a yo-yo in it. We got a safety check every month. Any car that isn't safe has to be fixed or the guy's out. A lot of clubs operate that way.
Yeah, we know.
Our kids build rods for 2 reasons. Because they want the cars to run better, be more efficient, or else they want something a little different than you can buy in a showroom.
Yeah, well, all this sounds good, but a woman was killed last night by a kid driving a hopped-up car of some kind.
Maybe it had twin pipes, a loud muffler, but I'll give you odds from here to Bonneville that it wasn't a hot rod. I know how you guys feel. We're always getting it. Every kid behind the wheel in a second-hand car is a potential killer. The way the papers picture us, we just roam around looking for somebody to run over. That's not true. You check the records. I think you'll find that the ratio between tickets given out to members of hot rod clubs, members of the NHRA, and any other group of drivers will make the hot rodders look pretty good. There hasn't been a ticket in our club in the last year and a half. The one before that was for overtime parking. Oh, I'm sorry, fellas. That car last night wasn't one of our guys, and you can bet he wasn't a hot rodder either.
You got any way of knowing who could have gotten the plaque?
Well, not right off, but we'll find him.
How?
There's only so many streets in Los Angeles. We'll find him. Guys like that make things rough on the clean drivers in this town. We'll find him for you.
Well, we'll appreciate any help you can give us on this, but it's police business. If you find him, give us a call right away.
Don't worry, we will. How do I get in touch with you?
I'll leave you one of our cards. Anytime. You call us.
All right. I'll get on the phone and get the fellows rounded up.
If you turn anything, call us right away. Don't try to take care of it yourselves.
Only one thing we're interested in.
Yeah, what's that?
Proving to you it wasn't one of us. That's what's important. Showing you we're on your side.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard.
Huh?
There's a lot of room. We got the names and addresses of the members of the Square Wheel Club, and we talked to them. We checked their cars, and each of them volunteered to assist us in attempting to locate the hit-and-run vehicle. 6:40 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office. During the afternoon, the broadcast on the car had gone over the state wire, and every police officer in the state of California was looking for the hit-and-run car. When we checked with communications, there had been no replies to our broadcast. 7:15 p.m. We put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, and we talked again to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that the victim's husband, Carl Chapman, had been placed under the care of his family doctor and had been given sedatives to make him sleep. While I checked with Lieutenant Wolfram on the developments, Frank went over to the crime lab and talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones. 8:47 p.m. We met back in the squad room.
Any word yet?
No. Got a call from Al Gibbs.
Hot Rod Club?
Yeah. He says all the clubs in the area are looking for the car. They divided the city up in sections. Members are checking all the streets.
No luck, though, huh?
No, nothing. Well, they turned a couple of cars, but they don't check out. How'd you do?
Pretty good. Got the report here.
Uh-huh. Had a couple sandwiches sent in. Got your Swiss on rye.
Good.
In the bag there.
Where's coffee?
Right there, carton.
Oh. The lab sure did a good job on this stuff. Here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the scene. Victim was found 10 feet 4 inches from the northeast corner, 4 feet 8 inches from the north pedestrian crosswalk.
And put it about here, wouldn't it?
Yeah. They found particles of broken glass. Checked on them at the lighthouse. Lenses from 1944. Here's a picture of them.
Yeah.
In the gutter of the southwest corner, they found this.
There's a bumper guard.
Yeah. I looked at it. It's new.
Any brand name?
Yeah, but it's not going to help much. Distributed all over the country.
Well, how about skid marks? Any sign of them?
No, not that they could find. Either the kid didn't have time to use them or else he didn't want to. He came up with this, though.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, some marks from a tire. Lee says he thinks they were made when the kid dug out to get away, spun the back wheels.
Mm-hmm. Sure indicate that he didn't mean to stop at any time, huh?
Well, that's the way Lee's got it figured.
Well, it isn't much to go on, is it?
Well, it'd come easier.
Yeah. Well, let's go out and check the neighborhood again. We might still be able to turn up a decent description. We start checking the garages in the morning. Try to turn a car with a broken headlight and a missing bumper guard.
Okay. Better call communications, get out a supplemental on the tires. Huh?
Yeah, I'll take care of it. I got it. Hit and run felony Friday. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Anybody there? No. No, keep it under surveillance. We'll be right out. Yeah. Don't burn it. Right. Bye.
What do you got?
Well, it's beginning to go our way, maybe.
Huh?
They found the car.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. Tonight we hear from America's #1 band leader, Ray Anthony, who, with his attractive wife, Dee, plays college dates from coast to coast.
In cigarettes, the young crowd really goes for Chesterfields. I've noticed that wherever we've played. And I guess it's one of the reasons Chesterfield is America's most popular two-way cigarette. Of course, Dee and I are Chesterfield smokers, too. We know they're best for us.
Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
During a routine patrol of the streets in East Los Angeles, a radio unit had come across a car parked at the curb on Vancouver Avenue. They'd stopped to investigate and found that it matched the description that we'd sent out. On the phone, I'd instructed the officer not to search the car, but merely to keep it under surveillance and check and hold anyone who approached it. Frank and I notified the crime lab of the find, and then we left the office and drove out to the location. We talked to the officers in the police car, and they told us that they hadn't seen anyone near the vehicle. We checked the registration and found that the registered owner was a Jack Moore. The white slip gave us an address in Hollywood. While the crime lab went over the car, we drove out to Moore's address to talk to him. He lived in a large house built in the mid-20s as a private residence. It had been converted into a boarding house. Frank covered the rear entrance. I rang the front doorbell.
Yeah? What do you want waking me up this time of night?
Police officers. You have a tenant here named Jack Moore?
What about it?
We'd like to talk to him.
Too late, Mac. He ain't here.
Where is he?
I don't know. He moved out this afternoon. He didn't say where he was going.
A thorough search was made of the suspect's room. The manager told us that Moore had come home that morning, packed his belongings, and left the house. We called the crime lab, and Lieutenant Lee Jones told us that they'd established that Moore's car was the one that had run down the Chapman girl. We talked to the other people in the rooming house. None of them could tell us where Moore might have gone. We put in a call to auto records, but the car was not listed as being stolen. Frank called his name into R&I, but we found that he had no felony record. From the occupants of the rooming house, we found that the suspect had no relatives in this state and no close friends that they could recall. Leighton Prince came out and went over the room, and in going over it, we found a wastebasket Moore had used to dispose of articles that he didn't want. In the basket, we found several match folders from a bar out on West 7th Street. We put in a call to the bar, but we found that it was closed. From the manager of the rooming house, we got a good description of the suspect, along with the information that he received no mail and that he was apparently unemployed. A stakeout was set up on the house, and at 3:36 a.m., Frank and I checked out of the office and went home for the night. The next day, Wednesday, April 8th, we contacted DMV and asked that they give us all information on the car. 9:15 a.m., we drove over to the bar on West 7th Street.
Not open yet. Don't open till 10.
Police officers like some information.
License is back there on the wall in plain sight. There's nothing going on here.
You have a customer in here named Jack Moore?
We just open the doors. We got no say about who comes in. As long as they don't cause trouble, we don't either.
This guy's about 20 or 21, 5'8", 5'10", 165 pounds, blonde. Name's Moore, Jack Moore.
What's he done?
We want to talk to him.
About what?
Police business. Have you seen him?
Nothing that's going to get the bar in trouble?
Well, that's a simple question, mister. Have you seen him?
Maybe, yeah. You tell me what it's all about, and I might be able to help you out.
You're running out of time. Have you seen Jack Moore?
Yep.
When?
Last night.
Here?
Yeah, he was in. Got liquored up. I tossed him out when we closed.
Where's he now?
You better ask him.
I'm going to tell you once more. If you know where he is, you're going to save yourself a lot of time by cooperating with us.
I run a clean place here. I don't want any trouble with the cops. My license is on the wall. I got no choice of the customers who come in here. I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
We're not calling it that way.
That's the way it is. This is a clean place.
That's not what the book says. You've been tabbed a couple of times for serving minors. You run B-girls. You haven't served straight liquor in here for a couple of years. Now, if we have to get the information from you downtown, that's the way it's going to be. Get your coat.
Oh, now, look, fellas, I was just trying to take care of myself.
You did. Get your coat.
Isn't there some way we can work this thing out? I don't want any trouble.
Where's Jack Moore?
I try to run a clean place. A couple of times I've been...
We've been over all that before. Now, where is he?
I got him up at my place.
You there now?
I guess so. He got pretty loaded last night. Told me he didn't have any place to pad down. I took him home.
What's the address?
1862 and a half Woodworth Court, room 14.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
And don't try to call him.
I got no phone in the room. If he's done anything, I had no part in it. Just trying to help a friend out, that's all. Just help a friend out.
Yeah, sure.
You tell him that. How he got me in trouble. All because I tried to help him out. You just tell him.
Yeah, we will.
And tell him not to come around here anymore. Tell him to keep out. Tell him that, will you, for me? Tell him not to come back?
Don't you worry about it. He won't be back. We called the office, and another team of detectives came out to the bar to keep the bartender under surveillance in the event that he might try to contact the suspect. It took 5.5 minutes to drive to the Woodward Street address. It was a large building located at the end of a blind street. Room 14 was on the third floor in the front of the building. Frank and I approached the room, and we listened. There was no sound from inside.
You want to try the door?
Yeah. It's unlocked.
Yeah.
There he is on the bed.
Yeah. Looks like the right guy.
Well, let's wake him up. Come on. Come on, boy. Wake up. Come on.
Let me alone, Charlie.
Come on, get up, boy. Get up.
Boy, let me alone. I told you, Charlie, let me... Who are you guys? What are you doing
Police
here?
officers, you're under arrest.
Now, wait a minute. All right, let me go.
Now, come on, stand still.
All right. All right, I quit.
You want to shake him, Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's clean.
Where you taking me? I ain't done nothing. You got no reason to push me around like this.
All right, let's go.
Where? Where you going to take me?
Downtown.
For what?
Manslaughter.
I didn't do it. I didn't. You got the wrong guy. You got the wrong one. I didn't do it.
All right, come on, let's move.
But you got the wrong one. I didn't do it. I didn't know what you wanted. That's why I run. I didn't know what you wanted.
Well, you do now, so let's go. The suspect was taken to the squad room where he was questioned. He refused to admit any part in the crime. He was confronted with the physical evidence and with the ownership of the hit-run vehicle. The witness to the crime came to the office and said that Jack Moore was the man that she'd seen at the wheel of the car when Helen Chapman had been run down. Throughout the interrogation, the suspect refused to say anything. At 1:47 p.m., the door to the squad room opened and Carl Chapman came in.
Where is he? I know he's here. I want to see him.
All right, take it easy, Chapman.
I heard you called him. I want to see him. I want to tell him. Is that the kid? Are you the one? You the one who killed Helen? Well, answer me.
All right, take it easy, Chapman.
Is he the one?
The evidence points that way, yeah.
Please. I want you to do something for me.
What's that?
Go away. Out of here, please.
We can't do that, Chapman. He's in custody.
Please leave me alone with him.
Come on, Chapman. You better wait outside.
Now, just a minute. Listen to me, kid. When they put you in that cell, you get down on your knees and thank God that they found you before I did. You understand? You thank him, and every day you live, you thank him. You do that because I would have killed you.
Take it easy, Chapman.
My wife's dead because of him. You hear that? You killed her. They got lost to save people like you, but none for her. None for her and the baby. They didn't have any laws. None for them.
All right, Chapman. Come on, take it easy. Frank, come on, sir. Yeah.
Pretty upset, ain't he?
I want you to remember something, kid. In the years I've been in this department, I've seen some bad ones, real bad. Teenage kids that didn't know any better scraped up off the pavement and sent home to their parents. Drunks who were too loaded to know what went on. There's been a lot of them go through here, but you finished way ahead of the field, boy.
You talk good. I bet you're on a lecture team around here.
I'm getting fed up with you kids roaming the streets in death traps. Now, I don't care about you. You want to wrap yourself around a post, you go ahead. We'll try and stop you, but don't you take somebody else with you. Every year, the number gets bigger, more people killed. It isn't the honest drivers that do it. It's people like you who don't care for anybody else. Now, we've tried about everything in the books to make you understand. Doesn't look like any of them did any good, does it?
I'm a bad one, ain't I?
You killed a human being, boy. A woman who didn't even know you. She never saw you until it was too late. You threw a 10.5 of metal at a 120-pound woman, and then you ran away and left her in the gutter to die. You wrecked a family. You tore it right down the middle and rolled over it. You've ruined the lives of all the people around that woman. You gave a group of decent kids a bad time because you stole their name. Now, you get on your feet, young fella, and you keep that smart mouth of yours closed. Do you understand?
Can I ask you something?
What's that?
Hit and run. How much will I get?
I don't know, but it won't be enough.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 14th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Thousands of smokers all across the country are now changing to Chesterfield. We'd like you to give them a try, too. I know you'll like them because the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want and the mildness you want, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, Chesterfield.
Jack Carlisle Moore was tried and found guilty of manslaughter, 1 count, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Manslaughter is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period not to exceed 10 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Joyce McCluskey, Harry Bartell, Dick Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters. The only filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. The right length for effective filtration. And just the right filter. Only the L&M filter contains the miracle product, alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. This is it. As Bennett Cerf puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarettes.
Hear Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
This one's about Pete Kelly. It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kettner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City, on the Missouri side. It's a standard speakeasy. The slot in the front door is regulation size, just wide enough to frame a suspicious eye, and the bottoms of the shot glasses aren't quite thick enough to reach the top. It's a well-run, orderly crib, the kind of a place the local prohibition agents can bring their wives to. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who always has his hand in his pocket. We start grinding every night about 10, and we play till Lupo runs out of inventory. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like. And on the breaks, he doesn't care how many nickels we throw into the pianola. Our nickels, his pianola. We were winding up the second set last night when Little Izzy came in. Little Izzy's a cab driver who's been working the joints up and down Cherry Street. He's carted more drunks than Lupo ever counted in his wildest dreams, and once a week he lights a candle to Mr. Volstead. But last night, Little Izzy wasn't hauling a lush. She was a white-haired, gentle old lady, the motherly type that Mary Carr plays in Over the Hill. She looked around the crib nervous and bewildered as Little Izzy eased her down at the small table near the bar. He smiled at her as gently as Little Izzy can smile and started for the bandstand. Hi, Izzy. How's the taxi business?
Yesterday I picked her up, and I've been hauling her ever since, from barrel house to barrel house, from crib to crib. What's she looking for? A girl. What girl? Her daughter. Who's her daughter? A singer. What's her name? June Gould.
June Gould.
You know? You know this male?
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. I haven't heard about her for almost a year. She used to sing over at Maury's.
So where's she now? You know, huh? Where's she now?
I don't know.
6-2-0. Every crib we hit, yeah, sure, I remember June Gould, but where's she now? 6-2-0.
Well, look, maybe I can... Look, Izzy, tell the old woman to wait. Maybe I can send up a flare.
Oh, thanks, Petey boy, I got it. So good.
All right.
Pete?
Let's go. Yeah, Red.
That June Gould, beautiful gal?
Yeah.
Ever hear Nails Norton?
Yeah.
Used to torch for her with a 1,000-watt torch.
So?
So she wouldn't give me the coffee that spilled in a saucer.
So?
I wouldn't go asking around about her.
So let's do the number, huh?
So sure.
All right. Whispering, good and bright. Here we go. Everybody ready? All right. All right. Take 5. Use some nickels, huh, Red?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's going to get rich off us.
Petey, this is Mrs. Gould.
How do you do, Miss Gould?
Mrs. Gould, this is Pete Kelly.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly here said he'll take care of everything for you, Mrs. Gould.
Well, I didn't exactly say
Your worries are over now, Mrs. Gould, so I'll leave you with Mr. Kelly and good luck.
No, Izzy, wait a minute. Wait.
Mr. Kelly, I don't know how to thank you. You've given me new hope. I was ready to...
Sure, all right. Now, come on. It's going to be all right, Miss Gould. Don't cry.
I'm sorry. But it's so hard to...
Well, come on now. Let's unglue it. Tell me about it, huh?
Well, my little girl, June, she was always a very beautiful child. We lived alone in Cleveland. Her father died when she was a baby. She always had a lovely voice. She came here to Kansas City to get a start as a singer.
When was this?
2 years ago. Last I heard, she was working in a place called Maury's.
Uh-huh.
She would write to me every week. Always send me a check for support. Oh, she's a good girl, Mr. Kelly. And I'm so worried.
How long haven't you heard from her?
Oh, it's been more than 6-7 months now. No letters at all. But each week a money order. But no letter.
Each week you get a money order? From her?
Well, I don't know. There's no letter, no name. Just a money order to support me. And I finally saved enough to come here to look for her.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, I've tried everything, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. All right, you wait here, Mrs. Gould. I'll buzz around. Maybe I can come back with some answers for you.
And, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
I beg you to promise me. No matter what the answers are, you tell me the truth.
Yeah, sure. Well, the way I figured it, I could have told her the truth then, without even leaving the joint. But it wasn't easy. Not when you looked into her eyes. But where were the money orders coming from? Well, I had to make a pass at it, so I borrowed Red's Erskine coupe, drove out to the edge of town where Maury's Country Club balanced itself neatly on top of a well-kept hill. Nobody could get into Maury's front door unless he showed a white tie. I got in through the kitchen and made for Maury's private office up on the second floor.
Yes?
Can I buy a minute of your time, Maury?
Come in, Pete. What can I do for you?
You remember a singer who worked for you, June Gould?
Yes. A cigar?
No, thanks.
June Gould. I remember June Gould. Why?
You got an idea where she is now?
Why?
Well, I'm trying to get a line on her.
Why?
For her mother. She's in town looking for her.
I heard.
She see you?
She tried.
You wouldn't see her?
No.
Why not?
I had no information for her.
You got some information for me?
No information. But if you ask me, do I have advice, maybe that I got.
Like what?
Like stay away from this old lady, Kelly, or maybe you'll never live to be as old as she is.
Yeah, I see. Thanks. Maury?
Yeah?
Is Nails Norton still in town?
You know something, Kelly?
Yeah.
I can't figure how you live to be as old as you.
And that did it. As clearly as he could, Maury was trying to tell me to go back to Lupo's, pick up my horn, and blow myself to a comfortable old age. And I agreed with him. That was the smart thing for me to do. Go back to 417 and forget all about June Gould. So I hustled the Erskine back downtown, cut across the 12th Street Bridge to the Kansas side, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place and Maggie Jackson. Maybe more than a few people in town knew what had happened to June Gould, but if there was anybody who knew and who would tell me, it'd be Maggie Jackson. Maggie was just going into a number when I walked in.
You're just in time, Pete. I need some strong support.
Hi, Maggie.
How about helping me through one course of What Have I Done?
I didn't bring my horn.
How about Artie Hamilton's? He's in the back room. He won't mind. Here.
Well, okay. Wait a minute. You better let me try an A here. It's a little loud. Just a minute. Okay, just a second. All right, I guess we can try it.
All right. What have I done? I was blue, but now I'm bluer. Wish I knew wherever Thanks a lot.
Sure, Maggie. Here's Artie's horn. Look, Maggie, I need some information. Maybe you got an open line.
What's bothering you, Petey?
Maggie, you ever hear of a gal named June Gould?
June Gould.
Yeah, she worked over at Maury's over on the hill.
Oh, yeah. Tall, flaming red hair with real green eyes.
Yeah.
And a voice like red velvet. Whatever became of her?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Maggie.
Ain't thought about her in a long time. She just dropped out of sight suddenly, like last year's calendar.
Well, you got any idea at all, Maggie? Anything you heard?
No, Petey. Never did know much about that gal. Except she used to bunk with another gal.
Who?
Dancer down at the Cuban casino. Name of Flora Acosta.
Flora Acosta, huh? Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck, Pete.
Well, the Cuban casino is a minor league trap over in Spanish Town. They deal strictly for the natives who are homesick for their own rhythm. Flora Acosta was just going into her big finish. I folded myself into a corner and waited. Miss Acosta?
See?
Can I talk to you for a minute?
What is it?
Well, it's kind of noisy out here.
Well, I'm sorry, but I just...
Look, have you heard from June Gould lately?
Come into my dressing room, please.
All right.
Hello, little bird. Oh, you're such a happy little bird. Excuse me, senora. Another costume for my next number.
Sure, it's all right.
Now, tell me, who are you?
Pete Kelly. I play cornet over at 417 Cherry.
Oh, yes. Now I know.
Well, I was told that you used to live with June Gould.
Yeah, that's right.
You know where she is now?
No.
Well, when did you see her last?
A long time ago. I don't know.
Did she say where she was going?
No, she just pack up and go. Goodbye. Goodbye, Fleur, my darling. She say and she go. That's how she was.
That's how she was?
See.
Not how she is.
Okay.
Well, you said was, like you don't think she is anymore.
Senor, I'm very sorry. You make so much English for me. Hello, little bird. Such a happy little bird.
Yeah. Do you know any of her boyfriends?
Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, see, she has lots of boyfriends. Also many.
Nails Norton?
Okay.
One of her boyfriends, Nails Norton?
I'm sorry, senor.
Yeah, I know. I make too much English for you.
Well, she has so many boyfriends. It's very confusing.
Did you meet any of them?
Believe me, senor, it's so confusing.
Yeah, do you remember any of her
She
boyfriends?
packed all her bags and she said, goodbye, Fleur. Goodbye, my darling. I'm going to be a bride.
She was going to be married?
See, that's it, married.
Who is he?
Yes?
The man she was going to marry.
Oh, he's a very rich man, and she loves him very much. And she's so happy. Goodbye, Fleur, she said. Goodbye, my darling.
Yeah, I know. Now, what's his name?
His name, Bishop. You have in English a name, Bishop?
Bishop?
See, Tom Bishop. Very rich man.
Do you know where he lives?
In a big house, a very rich house.
The street?
Well, I don't know, but a very rich street.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Senor.
Yeah.
How you come to me with all these questions? You make me very sad, very worried about my friend. You think she's all right?
Sure.
You will please let me know, senor? I would be very sad, very worried about her.
Sure.
Thank you, senor. Hello, little bird. Such a happy little bird.
Well, I left the happy little bird and found me a city directory. Thomas Bishop, Vice President, Grundy Savings Bank and Loan. Residence, 440 North Camberwell. Well, the house was set well back from the street, surrounded by an ornate iron fence and $1 million worth of shrubbery. I made the long trip to the front door on foot, punched the door buzzer.
Yeah?
Mr. Bishop?
Yeah.
My name's Pete Kelly. Is Mrs. Bishop at home?
What do you want with her?
Her mother's in town.
Her mother?
Yeah, she'd like to see her.
Are you sure you have the right Bishop?
You're Thomas Bishop, aren't you?
Yes, but my wife's mother is dead.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. I buried her.
You buried her?
10 years ago. I'm sorry, young man. You must have the wrong Bishop.
No, I got the right Bishop, but the wrong wife. What'd you do with June Gould?
Be quiet.
Afraid your wife will hear?
What do you want?
I want to know what happened to June Gould.
Please, Mr. Kelly, not here.
Police headquarters suit you better?
I beg you, come away from the house.
All right. Now, come on, tell me about it.
Mr. Kelly, I assure you...
I don't want assurances. I want information. Where's June Gould?
I don't know.
You were going to marry her?
It was a misunderstanding.
You mean you already had a misunderstanding, wife, huh?
June knew I was married, but we loved each other. We were going to run away.
And what happened?
I don't know.
Now, come on, you're going to have to do better than that.
We decided we'd made all the arrangements, and I never saw her again. I never heard from her. I searched everywhere, tried everything, but without success. Please believe me, Mr. Kelly. I'm telling you the honest truth.
And you never got a line on her? No lead at all?
Nothing. Except a vague rumor that she'd been seen with a man named Maxie Finn.
Maxie Finn? The two-bit bookie?
Yes. I was shocked when I learned what he is.
I couldn't believe that she would...
Yeah, leave the great Mr. Bishop for a mouse like Maxie Finn? That's what needles you, huh?
No, Mr. Kelly. I don't blame you for thinking that. But the truth is, I loved her. She was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And for the first time in my life, You see, I married when I was very young, calculatingly, to put myself ahead in the world. Well, my marriage gave me what I thought it would, great financial success. But I didn't realize I was only living half a life until I met June.
Yeah. Did you talk to Finn?
No, not directly. But I did have communication with him.
Cautious type, huh?
Yes. But for June Gould to spend the rest of whatever life I have left with her, I was ready to throw away all caution.
You asked Finn about her?
Yes.
What word did he send back?
Only 2. Dropped dead.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to buy your story, but if it doesn't hang together, I'll be back for another one. Well, I knew where to find Maxie Finn, at the dice table in back of Sartori's garage. I pointed the Erskine for downtown KC. Maybe Bishop's story would hang together, and maybe it wouldn't. Traffic in back of Sartori's garage was heavier than out front. The crap table was getting a big play. I spotted Maxie Finn's pasty face hanging over the $1 line.
And the number is 5. Make the point or break the joint. And the man throws. Days in the week, pass the dice and make some ice. All right, get aboard, boys. Get aboard. Get aboard.
I got to talk to you.
I'm on the roll. And the dice read. Days in the week, 7 a man's down. Pass the dice and make some ice. Everybody wins. Everybody plays. Lay it on the line. We pay it on the line. Nothing but throwouts, all.
All right, let's get over here, Finn. It's important.
What's your problem, Kelly? Right or wrong, I go along. All right, Kelly, I'm on the sock. My arm's cooling off. What's the hustle?
June Gould.
What?
June Gould.
You lost me.
You sent word the Bishop dropped dead.
I send you the same.
All right, come on. What happened to June Gould, Maxie?
To me, you read like boxcars. Goodbye, Kelly.
Come here. Now, where is she? All right, come on. What'd you do to her?
Nothing. I see her for maybe a couple of months, that's all.
Why didn't she meet Bishop?
She never said.
Where'd she go after she left you?
I don't know.
But you got a pretty good idea.
You got all I know. All right. Maybe I can get a line. I'll call you. I'll try and I'll call you.
All right, at Lupo's.
Yeah, I promise. At Lupo's.
Just to make sure you keep your promise, Maxie, here's a nickel. If you don't use it, I'll be back to take it away from you. Well, I had to leave it that way. I knew that by pushing Maxie Finn around, I'd started something in motion. There'd have to be a reaction. Back at 417, I found Mrs. Gould right where I'd left her. She looked up at me anxiously as I went over to her table.
Any news, Mr. Kelly?
I'm waiting for word now, Mrs. Gould.
Do you think that...
Mrs. Gould, I don't think. This is the time for waiting. It's the toughest time of all. Where are you stopping?
The Jefferson Hotel.
All right, now look, you go back there.
Oh,
no, don't argue. No use sitting in this trap the rest of the night. Get yourself some rest. I'll call you as soon as I get word.
All right, Mr. Kelly. I'll do as you say. Somehow I feel you're the only one who could help me.
All right, Miss Gould. Bye. All right, let's hold it down. Hold it down.
Come on, Petey. Let's get with it. We lost all our business without a nickel.
All right. What's up?
Blues and B flat.
All right, I'll give you the pickup.
Petey,
Yeah.
Nails Norton. Heading this way.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Come down off of there.
What for?
This. Now you forget all about June Gould, see? Next time I drop you, you won't get up ever.
Well, I pulled myself together from all corners of the joint, raced for the Erskine, walloped it downtown to Sartori's garage. I felt no pain, nothing but a wild, flaming anger. I had all my connections, from Maggie to Flora, to Bishop, to Finn, to Nails. Finn to Nails Norton. Finn kept his promise all right. He'd used the nickel, but not to call me. The crap game was still hot, but Maxie Finn had lammed. I tore around town and finally caught up with Finn in the back room at Joe Donegan. He saw me coming, turned a dirty gray, and tried to duck out the back. He never made it. The first word I threw at him was a right from the floor. All right, Maxie.
Please, Kelly. Stop it, Kelly, stop it.
All right. You called Nails Norton.
I had to.
You told him I'm looking for June Gould. Now, give me the truth.
725 Baltimore.
Louder.
June. 725 Baltimore. The truth, Kelly, the truth. 725, room 6.
All right, Maxie. If you ain't leveling this time, I'll break in two. 725 Baltimore was only 3 traffic violations away from Joe Donegan. It wasn't much of a place and never was. I found room 6 on the second floor. I rapped on the door and waited. I rapped again. The door was opened wide. First thing I saw across the room was something propped up in a chair. It was all wrapped up in a quilted bathrobe that the house dog probably refused. Long, lifeless hair straggled down onto the shoulders. It must have been a woman, but I wouldn't swear to it in a court of law. You couldn't tell by the face, a mass of gnarled, scarred tissue, the mouth pulled into a permanent, fixed grin. A bottle of gin was held on a broomstick hand. The first shock over, I looked at the man behind the door. That was the second shock, the one I didn't get over. Nails Norton.
All right, Nails. Tell him to come all the way in.
Go ahead.
You got a strong stomach, Kelly? Says if you ain't, you better look the other way. Nails here. He's got a good, strong stomach, ain't you, Nails?
Yes, June.
Yeah, I'm June. June Gould, the beauty.
Yeah.
Well, you finally found me, Kelly. Now take a good look. Something to remember on those long nights when you can't sleep.
What happened?
He wants to know what happened there.
This isn't good for you, dear. Let me take you out.
I'll tell him. Acid. That's what happened.
Who?
Tom Bishop's wife.
But he doesn't know.
Nobody knows. Except his wife, Maxie Finn and Nails. Now you. Yeah. She knew about me and Tom. She came before I could meet him with the acid.
You never did anything to her. Never.
What could I do that would give me back my face? No, let her live with it. Maxie Finn, he found me like that, took care of me. All the while Nails here, he was looking for me. Nails, he always cared for me, didn't you, Nails?
Yes, I did.
Now Nails takes good care of me. Sees that I have everything I need. And all I need's a quart a day. All I need and all I want. Nails is a good boy. Even sends my mother money every week. He's a good boy.
She's in Kansas City, your mother.
Yeah, we heard. Why Nails tried to stop you.
Well, why don't you? You could write to her.
No, letters can be traced.
Yeah, but she's worried sick about you. If you could only let her know.
What? Let her know what? You think I want to let her see me like this? You think she...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelly. You found me. Tell her. Bring her to see me. Make the rest of her days happy.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Apologize to Maxie Finn.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock.
The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven consists of Dick Cathcart on cornet, Matty Matlock on clarinet, Nick Patul on drums, Ray Sherman on piano, George Bennett on guitar, Zeb DeMott on bass, Mo Schneider on trombone. The songs of Maggie Jackson were written by Arthur Hamilton. Pete Kelly's Blues is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A supermarket in your city has been robbed. The thief wore a disguise. You don't know who he is or what he looks like. Your job, find him. Today, friends, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, August 13th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery. Morning, Frank. You been in long?
About 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a hot one today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the paper says.
Anything in the book?
No.
How about those mugs? They come in from Barton?
Yeah, I put them in your box.
Thank you. You take a look at them? Hey, Frank.
What?
I said, did you see the mugs?
Oh, no.
All right. What's the matter?
Faye?
What happened?
Joe, you know me. You know how I feel about Faye. So you got to know I didn't mean anything by it.
You didn't mean anything?
Certainly not. It's the farthest thing from my mind.
What was?
What she thought I meant. You know, Joe, sometimes I think Faye just don't understand me.
Well, I don't understand you either on this one.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there.
No.
Sorry, got to thinking to myself you were. You know how a guy does.
Uh-huh.
I got to thinking to myself, when you got a problem, you kind of think your old buddy knows all about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I got to fill you in. I'll tell you all about it.
Right now?
Yeah. You see, after dinner last night, we had those Swedish meatballs that Faye makes so good.
The what?
Meatballs. Swedish ones.
Oh, yeah, I know. I had those out there.
Yeah, wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, after dinner last night, we went in the living room, sat down to watch the television.
Mm-hmm.
I switched on the set, and I kind of arranged the pillows and settled back. A couple of minutes later, Faye comes in with a box. One of those big flat ones like dresses come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
She bought a new dress. Joe, that's why she fixed the meatballs.
I don't know how this is going to end, but up to here, I must be on Faye's side, I guess.
You are?
Well, I don't understand any of it.
Oh, well, I'll straighten that out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, whenever she wants me to go along with something she's already done, she always makes Swedish meatballs.
Well, I could figure that part out. What was in the box?
A dress, Joe. She bought a dress.
Oh, it was a dress?
Yeah. She opened up the box. She shows it to me. Told me how she bought it on sale.
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice how every time a woman buys a dress, it's always on sale?
No, I can't say as I ever have.
Well, believe me, buddy, it always is.
On sale?
On sale.
I don't want you to go through the whole day with this on your mind, but if you don't get to the point, every time horses sign out, then we can talk about it.
Well, I didn't mean anything by it. Nothing. She held the dress up for me to see, and all I did, I just said, what size is it? You know how you do.
Mm-hmm. Want to look at these mugshots now?
No, wait a minute. I want to finish. You asked me what I was mad about. I wanted to tell you. I asked her what size the dress was. She told me it was a 12. A 12.
A 12?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of casually mentioned that when we got married, she wore a 9. That's all I said, that she wore a 9.
Want to look at the mugshots now?
No, wait a minute. Will you help me with this thing? It's the use of being partners. If you can't help a little, we'll look at the mugshots. When we were married, she wore a 9. And she just flipped her wig, Joe. She got real mad. Walked out of the room. Right out of the room.
Yeah.
I guess she thought I meant she was getting fat.
Yeah, I guess she did.
Boy, she was mad.
Mm-hmm. Hot shot, I'll get it. Let's go. Corner of Grandview and Union.
Yeah?
Hold up. By the time we got to the supermarket, a broadcast carrying the description of the suspect had been gotten out to all cars in the city. A small crowd of people had gathered in front of the store, and the officers from the radio unit were attempting to keep them back from the entrance. An ambulance had been called, and when we got there, the attendants were giving emergency treatment to the day manager of the store. He'd been struck on the left side of the head just above the ear by the suspect when he'd made his getaway. The attendant told us that the man was suffering from a mild concussion. Frank and I entered the store and talked to one of the policemen who was there. He led us back to a small office in the rear of the place where we met the other 2 victims. One was the cashier of the store, Irma Watson. The other was the man who had the meat concession in the store, Tom Spence. We asked him to tell us what happened.
First thing I saw of him was when I parked my car out in the lot. The guy was standing right beside the door.
That's right, just standing there, calm as could be. I saw him when I opened up the place.
Mm-hmm. You want to go ahead?
Well, I unlocked the door and we all came in. The man did too, just walked right in.
We don't normally let people come in for 8, hardly ever. But since Gerald was there, we figured he could take care of the man.
You mean Gerald's the man in the ambulance?
Yeah, that's right. Hold up, fella, give him an awful clout on the head. Give him concussion. Concussion to the head.
Tell you something about that, too.
What's that, Miss Watson?
I don't really think Gerald's hit that hard. I think he's just putting on to get sympathy.
Now, Irma, that ain't right. Not good to say things like that.
Maybe not, but I tell you, you remember the time he cut his finger when he was moving the cases of empty soda pop bottles?
Yeah?
Well, you were there, had to rush him to the hospital, have his hand sewn up. A lot of foolishness. Piece of adhesive would have taken care of it. Sympathy, that's what he wants.
Can we go on with what we were talking about? What happened after you came in the store, please?
Well, I went upstairs and I turned on the lights.
Have to turn them on from up there. Officers up there.
That's where I work.
Mm-hmm.
Turned on the lights, then come down to open the safe.
Is that your job, to open the safe in the morning?
Yeah.
And she's a cashier.
Yes, sir. What happened then?
Well, Gerald was going out back to open the delivery door. I was over in the meat section, kind of straightening up.
Where was the hold-up man during this time?
We were just kind of strolling around, looking at the different displays up and down the aisles, just looking.
Gerald opened up the back door and come back. Asked the fella if there's something special he's looking for.
Well?
Guy said he wanted to know where the Dillette of anchovies was. Gerald told him. Fella went back to get some.
That's what Gerald thought, but we know different now.
Yeah, a lot different.
All right, would you go on, please?
Well, I was upstairs counting the receipts from yesterday, getting the bank statement ready.
Irma's a cashier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Would you go on, please?
Well, first thing I know, the man standing right behind me, holding this gun, pointed right at me. You can just bet he like to scared me out of my wits.
Must have been terrible, Irma.
It was. I just turned around, and there he was with this gun, just about scared me to death.
That's when he asked you for the money, did he?
He didn't ask. He just told me to put it in a wooden box he had. Just put it in the box.
What did he say? What were his exact words?
Well, he just kind of walked over and said, "Put the money in the box and don't cause no trouble. This is a stick-up." Like that, he said it.
Irma did just what he said.
Yes, sir. I gave him the money, dumped it all in the box, just like he said. Then he told me to lay down on the floor. Just told me to lay down and not to make any noise or he'd come back and kill me. I think he'd have done it, too.
I think he would have, Irma.
That's why I did what he said, flat on the floor.
Did he have the box when he came in?
Yeah, I had it under his arm.
I was down behind the meat counter, and all of a sudden I heard this scream.
That was me.
Yes, ma'am.
I let out a yell, and Tom here heard it.
And so did Gerald. We kind of looked at each other, and then I grabbed the meat cleaver and started up the stairs. I didn't know what was wrong, but I did know Irma was in trouble.
I appreciate that, Tom.
I knew you were in trouble, and I came running. Got the stairs, come up the office, and then I saw him. He was just coming down.
He still had the gun, did he?
Yeah, had the gun in the box. I didn't know what was in it at that time, but I had an idea. I just hefted the cleaver and started up the stairs. He stopped when he saw me. Stopped right in his tracks.
Tom's awful brave.
Yes, ma'am.
So he told me to get out of his way or else he'd kill me. The way he was pointing that gun around, I kind of believed him. So I backed down the stairs and him right behind me. All the time he had that gun pointed at me.
Where was the manager all this time?
You mean Gerald?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was upstairs.
No, I saw him. He was down by the cash register in front. He saw this guy coming down the stairs, and he ran for the phone to call the police. The fella saw him, and he took off after Gerald. I thought he was going to shoot him, but he didn't. Just hit him. Give him a concussion of the head.
He's after sympathy, that's all.
Oh, now, Irma, you're wrong. I seen it. He gave Gerald an awful hit, right along here. There, real hard.
Now, which way did the man go after he left the store, please?
He ran down that way, down Union.
Uh-huh. Now, will you describe the man for us?
Well, he was about 5 feet 6, and he was...
It'd be a little better if you told us one at a time. Huh?
I guess you'd never get it that way.
It'd be a little difficult, sir, yeah.
You go ahead, Irma.
Well, I told the other policeman he was about the funniest-looking little man I ever saw. Real little.
Oh, not really. I think he just kind of hunched over.
Well, he looked little.
About how tall was he?
Oh, about 5'8", maybe 9.
Guess that's about right. Tell him about the way he was dressed.
Oh, yeah. Had on this black overcoat and a hat, all pulled down over his eyes. The hat, I mean.
What color was his hair, do you remember?
Well, what I could see of it was kind of blonde, light-colored.
Yeah, that's right, and he had a mustache.
Yeah, real big. Looked like the old-fashioned kind, like people wore when I was a kid. You know, handlebar, black.
Real black.
Mm-hmm. When he left the store, did you notice if he got into a car?
Yeah, he did. I saw him run down the street and jump in one, a dark color. I'm not sure what kind it was. I think it might have been a Hudson, late model.
I saw that. I was looking out the side window upstairs, and I saw the same thing.
Did you tell the other officers about it?
Well, I didn't.
And neither did I.
I guess we better get out a broadcast on it.
Yeah. Did you happen to get the license number of the car?
Yeah, that's where I went to work. I've got it written down right here on my apron. See? Numbers ain't too plain, but you can make them out.
No, sir, I can't. You'll have to help me there.
I got it, too. Right here. I saw him get in the car, and I wrote it down.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Thank you.
Having the number of the car is going to make it easier to catch a fella, ain't it?
We should make it a snap. Just find out who owns the car, and that's the man.
Well, it's not going to be that easy, I'm afraid.
What?
Both numbers are different. A supplemental broadcast was gotten out carrying both the license numbers that the victims had gotten. Frank put in a call to DMV asking him to forward all information on the numbers. The crime lab crew came out and went over the place for fingerprints, but they were not able to turn up anything that we could use. We continued to question the butcher and the cashier. We got a complete description of the thief. The one outstanding thing that both of them agreed on was the mustache. Both said that it was a direct contrast to the color of the man's hair, and said that it might have been darkened with shoe polish or some kind of grease. People in the vicinity were questioned, but none of them were able to supply us with any new information. The injured manager was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for emergency treatment and then referred to his own doctor. Frank and I talked to him, but he only verified the story that we'd gotten from the other two people in the store. 12:45 p.m. We returned to the city hall and asked the stats office to start a run on the M.O. for us. The victims were asked to go through the mug books, but they were not able to identify any of the photographs. Frank and I spent the rest of the day talking to the other storekeepers in the vicinity of the robbery. We asked each of them if they'd seen anyone loitering in the area, anyone who looked suspicious. From each of them, we got the same answer. None of them could help us in establishing the identity of the suspect. The kickback on the license number came in from Sacramento, but when we checked out the information, we were no closer to apprehending the thief. The next morning, Thursday, August 14th, Frank and I met in the squad room.
Hi, Joe.
Morning.
How's my old buddy this morning?
I'm all right. You sound happy. The problem with Faye straightened out?
Oh, yeah, sure. Got home last night. Everything's great.
Is that right?
Hey, we started last night.
What's that?
Faye and me, we're going on a diet. Both going to lose a little weight.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, lose a little weight. Anything new in the market holdup?
No, the staff's office should finish the run for us this morning. We can start checking out the possibles.
Yeah, it's a good thing I wore my walking shoes, huh?
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's right. No, that's all right. We'd like to hear it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. All right, we'll be out and see you. No, right away. All right, thank you very much. Bye.
What do you got?
Cashier out at the market, that Irma Watson.
Yeah?
Might have something for us.
What's that?
She says she thinks she knows who the suspect is. Frank and I drove out to the market. We went upstairs to the office in the rear of the store and met Irma Watson. She was seated at a desk with a large ledger book opened in front of her.
I got to thinking it over last night after I got home about the hold-up man.
Yes, ma'am?
There was something about him, the way he acted and talked made me think I knew who he was, that I'd seen him someplace before.
Uh-huh.
I laid awake most of the night just thinking about it, then all of a sudden it came to me. Right out of the air it came to me.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, I knew where it was that I thought I knew him from.
Where, ma'am?
Right here in the store.
You mean he's a customer?
No, he works for us, right here in the store. That's where I've seen him. That mustache kind of fooled me for a minute, but not for long. I remembered.
What's the man's name?
I didn't remember that.
Oh, I see.
Not last night, but I came down here this morning and started through the books and came upon it. Got it right here. Take a look for yourself. See? Right there.
That's Jed Ellsworth?
That's him, I'm sure of it.
Does Ellsworth work here now?
Well, yes and no.
Ma'am?
Well, he does and he doesn't. He's still got the job, but he ain't working right now. Got a leave of absence. He's got ulcers. Said he wanted to get him taken care of. Said he had to go out of town and see a specialist, get his ulcers fixed.
I see. When did he leave?
Last week. See, I got it right here. Last day he worked was Wednesday, August 6th. That was the last day.
Do you have his home address?
You just bet. Got it right here. Wrote all the information out for you.
Thank you very much.
It's him. I'm sure of it.
All right, Miss Watson, we'll check into it.
Only thing I can't figure out is that mustache.
What's that?
The mustache. I can't figure out how he could have grown it so fast. Takes longer than a week to get a mustache like that, doesn't it?
Well, it depends, doesn't it?
On what?
Where you buy it. Frank and I returned to the office to run the name Jed Ellsworth through the record bureau. While Frank went through the packages, checking the description we'd gotten of the suspect, I went down to the staff's office and picked up the list of possibles that they had for us. 10:26 a.m. I met Frank back at the R&I counter. Hi, how's it going?
Well, looks like we got a live one. Got a Jed Ellsworth here, pretty close to the description.
Yeah.
Record in the East, St. Louis. Done big time back there, nothing locally, though.
What did he fall for?
Armed robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet the Tom Harmons. You know Tom as Michigan's All-American football star, now a top sports announcer. Mrs. Harmon is the motion picture and television star Elise Knox. They're typical of people everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me.
I like regular-sized Chesterfields. Have for years. They're best for me, at least I think so, because of that Chesterfield quality.
That's the way I feel about them, too. I've always smoked Chesterfields. Now I go for the king size. Guess I like a longer smoke.
So whether you smoke regular size like Elise Knox or king size like Tom Harmon, enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfields for me. You hear it everywhere. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
We sent an immediate request to the authorities in St. Louis asking that they forward all available information on their suspect, Jed Ellsworth. 1:15 p.m., Frank and I drove out to the address we'd been given by the cashier at the supermarket. It was a one-story redwood house in the Beverly Glen area. We rang the front doorbell.
Yes?
We'd like to see Jed Ellsworth.
He's not here.
Well, do you know where we can reach him?
What's this about? He in trouble again?
Ma'am?
Jed in trouble again?
We'd like to talk to him, please.
You cops?
We're police officers.
Uh-huh. Figures. What's he done this time?
Well, it's just routine. We want to ask him a couple of questions. Where is he?
I don't know.
Well, he lives here, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know where he is. Haven't seen him since the day before yesterday. He's packed up and left. I don't know where he went.
Well, didn't he give you any idea where he was going?
None. Went through my purse, took what money I had, and shoved off. Don't much matter to me if I never see him again. I'd probably be better off.
I wonder if we could see his things.
You mean what he left?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Come on in. They're in his room. I'm about to throw him out. I don't want him, and I don't think you'll be back for him this time. Down the hall, this way.
Thank you, ma'am.
What are you after him for?
It'll be a little better if we talk to him.
Sure. Don't matter to me. I'm through with him. Nothing but trouble with cops since we've been married. I didn't know he had a record when I met him. It wasn't until after we got married I found out he was a jailbird. Right after we got married, the cops started coming around asking questions.
How long have you been married?
18 months. Met him back in St. Louis. Must have been right after he got out of jail. I didn't know it then. Wished I did. Wouldn't have nothing to do with him. Giving me nothing but trouble.
Would you know if he has any people in California?
That I ever saw. He never talked about him.
Does he drive a car?
Jed?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he didn't own one. Whenever he needed one, he'd go to one of these rental agencies, rent one. This is his room. Stuff's there on the bed.
Thank you. I'll check it.
I'm going to throw it all out. Anything there you want, just take it with you.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Well, the offer's still good. What you don't take, I'll throw out.
Your husband got any close friends at all in town?
Yeah, a couple other bums.
Can you give us their names?
Only one name I know, Larry Jessup. Him and Jed used to pal around all the time. I think his job at the store took up too much pal time. That's the reason Jed quit.
I understand your husband had trouble with his stomach, don't you?
Yeah, ulcer.
Was he under the care of a doctor?
Uh-huh. All the time taking pills and eating special things. Got to the point where nothing I cooked was right for the ulcer. We did nothing but fight all the time. Miserable 18 months. I'm glad he's gone. Never see him again. It'll be a week too soon.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us the doctor's name?
Yeah, it's on one of the bills there. Got it in with the rest of them. Reminds me, can you answer me something?
Well, what's that?
Am I responsible for his bills, the ones he ran of himself without my help? I got to pay him?
Well, ma'am, that's not a police problem. You better check with a lawyer on that.
Oh, are you?
Yes, ma'am.
More expense. Seems like all I do is put out money for him. Boy, I'm glad he's gone.
You have a picture of him?
You mean like a snapshot?
Yes, ma'am.
No, Jed wouldn't let nobody take pictures of him. Said it was bad luck.
Mm-hmm. He had a mustache, didn't he?
Not since I knew him.
Miss Ellsworth,
Yeah?
you know what's on these dictograph records?
Oh, those are mine. I'm a stenographer. Sometimes I do work at home. Those are mine.
Oh.
Just letters. It's the one thing he ever did for me.
What's that?
Made that box for records. Real big thing. Took him all day to make it. Just a plain, simple wooden box. You'd have thought it was a Taj Mahal. Only thing he ever did for me.
I see. Your husband get many phone calls here?
No, not that you'd notice. Larry'd call once in a while. I told you they was real pally.
Yes, ma'am. You ever hear any of the conversations by any chance?
Just on this end.
You know what they were talking about?
Not too good. They used to get real secret. You know, low voices. They were planning something, though. I don't know what it was, but they were planning something.
Well, this fellow Jessup, he drive a car?
Yeah.
You know what kind?
Yeah. New Hudson.
We got the address of the suspect's friend, and we drove back to the city hall. We made arrangements for a stakeout to be placed on the house, in addition to asking Mrs. Ellsworth to call us in the event that she heard from her husband. We ran the name Lawrence Jessup through R&I, and we came up with a criminal record for him. It listed several arrests for burglary and auto theft. According to his package, he'd never been convicted in California. We sent a teletype up to George Brereton, CII in Sacramento, asking for further information on the man. 4:50 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove out to the address given us by the suspect's wife. It was a large boarding house in the Hollywood Hills area. We talked to the landlady. She told us Jessup wasn't in, but that she expected him by 6 p.m. We asked if she'd ever seen a man answering Jed Ellsworth's description. She said that such a man was a frequent visitor in Jessup's room. 5 p.m. Frank and I, in the company of the landlady, checked the room. We found nothing to tie Jessup in with a robbery. We waited for him. 5:58 p.m. He came up the stairs and opened the door.
What are you guys doing here?
Police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I still want to know what you're doing here.
Got a couple of questions we want to ask you, Jessup.
Go ahead. I got nothing to hide. Ask.
Where's Jed Ellsworth?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. Why?
Understand you two are pretty good friends.
We're friends. The guy's off his rocker.
How do you mean that?
What I said. He only got out of the can a couple of years ago. Right away, he's doing his best to get back in.
Is that right?
Sure. A couple of days ago, he called, said he had to see me right away. Had a big idea for both of us to make a lot of money.
Yeah?
Well, I don't want to have to work all my life, so I told him I'd listen. He laid out this big deal where he could knock off a supermarket. Told me he had it all planned, how'd it all work out real good. Couldn't miss.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I didn't want no part of it. I could sure use the dough, yeah, but not to take a chance on going to jail for it.
I already got a record. I had enough to do with cops to last me the rest of my life. Been lucky the last couple of times. It didn't fall, but I don't want to press. I'm punching a clock now, and that's the way it's going to be. I told him that.
Did he say he was going to go ahead with the job?
No, I just said I was crazy not to pick up some easy money.
You heard from him since then?
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. He came over in the morning. Told me to forget all about the market job. Said he realized it was wrong. Asked me to drive him out to Pomona.
What for, did he say?
Yeah, he said he'd walked down on Hazel. That's his wife.
Yeah, we know.
Said he left her and was going to Pomona. Had a job out there.
You drive him?
Yeah, to a motel there. I can show it to you if you want.
Is he still there?
I don't know. As far as I know, he is. That's where I left him, sitting out there counting his money.
What money?
He told me he drew all the dough out of his and Hazel's account. Said she wasn't going to get any of it. Must have had about $4,000.
Uh-huh. You know what bank he had the money in?
No, he didn't say. I didn't know him and Hazel had that much. Of course, she works pretty hard. Thrifty, you know. Jed always said she was stingy. A lot of money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, had it in this wooden box, all stacked in there, real neat. Hard to believe.
What's that?
About the box. Jed's about the laziest guy I ever knew. Last one to work with his hands. Sure proud of it, though. Said he made the box himself.
Larry Jessup, Frank, and I drove out to the motel in Pomona. We checked with the manager, but found that the suspect had checked out that morning. Fortunately, the room had not been cleaned yet, and we went over it. On a shelf in a closet, we found the wooden box that Jessup had spoken of. It was a duplicate of the one that we'd seen at the suspect's home. We told the manager we were taking it with us and asked her to notify us in the event Ellsworth returned. We asked if he had a car when he left. The manager told us he didn't, but that he had asked for the name of some automobile rental agencies in Pomona. Jessup and I went out to our car and waited for Frank to come back from the suspect's room.
Sure looks like he pulled a robbery, huh?
It seems to fit him real good, doesn't it?
Joe?
Yeah.
Look at that. Found it under the bed.
Phony black mustache.
We checked with the automobile rental agencies in the area. None of them had seen a man answering the suspect's description. We asked them to call us if such a man did come in. We drove by Ellsworth's house and picked up the wooden box that he'd made for his wife's dictograph records. Both of the containers were taken to the crime lab for comparison. We drove to the market that had been held up. All three of the victims were shown the false mustache that we'd found in the motel. All three said it was identical with the one that the holdup man had worn. After his investigation, Lee Jones said that the two wooden boxes were cut from the same piece of 3-ply wood. Paint particles on the wood matched. The nails used were made by the same machine. The box we'd found at the motel was shown to both the butcher and the cashier. They said that it was the same one that the thief had carried. A local and an APB were put out on the suspect, asking that he be picked up for suspicion of robbery. For the next 3 days, the surveillance on the suspect's house was maintained. All of Mrs. Ellsworth's activities were observed. Sunday, August 17th, we got a call that the suspect's wife had left the house carrying a suitcase. The officers on stakeout followed her to the subway terminal in downtown Los Angeles. We met them there. Mrs. Ellsworth walked down to the landing and appeared to be waiting. Frank and I took over the surveillance. We waited. 9:30 p.m. 10. 10:15. 10:18 p.m.
Joe?
Yeah, I see him.
Looks like the description.
Yeah, he's going toward his wife. Wait, let's let them get together.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's him. Come on. He sees us.
Jed, get out of here.
Come on, Frank. Come on, Ellsworth, hold it up. Police officers. Come on, drop the gun, Ellsworth. You're not going to get out of here. Let's give it back to him. Down. Come on, Frank. He's hurt. Yeah.
I'll get an ambulance.
Right.
He's dead. Did you kill him?
No, we've sent for an ambulance.
I didn't want him to get hurt. I didn't want him to get hurt.
Why didn't you call us when you heard from him?
I don't know. He said if I met him, he'd give me some money so I could pay the bills we owed. He was going to give me some money. I was going to call you after I got the money. I was going to call.
Yeah, sure you were.
It's a chance to get out from under, get even. He didn't care when we were together. I was the one who worried about it. He never cared. He never paid a bill.
Don't worry, he's going to pay this one.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 17th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try them either way, regular or king size. If you try them, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Jed Warren Ellsworth was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Ralph Moody, June Whitley. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters. The one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. Much more flavor. Much less nicotine. And effective filtration. Only the L&M filter contains the miracle product alpha cellulose, the purest material for filtering cigarette smoke. Yes, this is it. As Helen Hayes puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the distinguished monogram cigarette. L&M filters, America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette.
Hear Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
Pat Novak, or higher.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you don't get prizes for being subtle. If you want to make a living down here, you got to get your hand in the till any way you can. You rob Peter to pay Paul, and then you put it on the cup. So I rent boats and tell a few white lies if the price is right. It's a happy life, if you don't mind looking up at a headstone, because sooner or later you draw trouble a size too big. I found that out Tuesday night. It was raining, and the street was as deserted as a warm bottle of beer. It must have been about 11 o'clock when I came out of the office and started down the waterfront. As I got near the corner, I stopped. An old man stepped out of the darkness and started across the street. It was a short trip because a car started up down the street, and the old man couldn't have made it with a pocket full of aces. I started over to him. The car slowed down for a minute and then turned the corner and disappeared. As it passed under the streetlight, I caught a glimpse of the license plate in a dull, surprised way, the way you'd grab a feather out of an angel's wing. I bent over the old man and rolled him on his back. He didn't seem to be in pain. He was just an old man with the frightened look of a small boy in a storm, who was breathing hard as I cushioned his head.
Please help me. Can you please help me?
That's a big order, mister.
I must talk to you.
Well, if you've got any good quotes, you better get them off your chest fast.
In my pocket. Inside my pocket. You please put your hand.
Yeah. In here?
Yeah.
Sure. 2 envelopes. What about them?
One is money. For you. You have the other one?
So far.
the other one. Please keep sealed. And you will give it to John St. John?
John St. John.
Yeah.
Well, where does he live?
I don't understand. It's not... I want to tell you. You don't understand.
He was right on that one. I didn't understand a thing, except he slipped out of my arms and stopped paying taxes. I dragged him over the side, and I went through his stuff. There was nothing there. No identification. Just a card with an address out on Haight Street. I opened the envelope, and $300 tumbled into my breast pocket. The other one was sealed. There was no name on it, but up in the corner there was some kind of marking. It looked like two crosses spliced together. There wasn't anything I could do for him except pray, and I owe some back dues. So I went back to my office and called police headquarters. I told them where the old man was, and then I checked in the phone book. There was no John St. John listed. Well, it wasn't going to be easy to find him, and I only had two leads, that license number and the address on Haight Street. So I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A good guy, but to him a hangover is the price of being sober. I finally found him singing in a Mason Street bar. Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time for the counterpoint. I'm singing a song, a little sentimental thing from my childhood.
Yeah, well, it'll keep. I got a problem.
You'll always have a problem, Patsy, because you can't keep out of trouble. You know that, don't you? You have no self-control.
All right, Jocko.
You have no more self-control than a bucket of mercury dumped on a marble staircase.
All right, now, shall we check the bright talk? I just saw a guy get killed.
Oh, you're like some violent disorder in nature, some large but unprofitable storm. You keep whirling in circles, Patsy. If you ever go more than 10 feet in one direction, it's because some woman is 9 feet away. Then it begins all over again.
Are you all through?
Yes, get to the point. That's another of your troubles. You never get to the point.
I just saw a guy killed 10 minutes ago.
How would that interest me? Are you selling an eyewitness account?
Some old guy got killed down on the Embarcadero. He checked out 15 feet away from me.
Who killed him?
I don't know.
Why do you care? Professional jealousy?
Some car came out of nowhere and clipped him.
You sure it wasn't an accident?
Yeah, just like the Berlin blockade. Will you stop needling me, Jocko? I told you a guy got killed. He was murdered right in front of me. I got to find a guy called John St. John.
How, St. John?
John St. John. I don't feel like vaudeville tonight, Jocko. The old man gave me $300 to deliver a letter, and I made him a promise.
Well, you can break it now with only the slightest risk.
I got the license number of the car. Now, I want you to hop down and look it up. And then check at headquarters to see if the guy's got a record, will you?
I don't like policemen. They depress me.
Check it. I got to go out to Haight Street. What kind of neighborhood is it out there?
Well, it's not exactly a neighborhood. It's more like an architectural afterthought, a lingering defense against the early California bear.
All right. No speeches. Just check on that license plate, huh? Now, if I'm not at my place, try this address.
Yes, that's always very interesting at this time of night. Good night, lover.
Jocko was right about the neighborhood. When I left him, I doubled by my place and left the envelope. I put it inside another envelope and stashed it behind some books, and then I headed out to look up John St. John. Oh, it must have been about midnight when I got there, and it was the kind of a neighborhood where a for rent sign reads like a ransom note. I found the place, though. It was an old rooming house, a third-floor apartment. I knocked at the door, and when she opened it, I knew it was time to wire home for money. A tall, blonde blister with lots of Fahrenheit. She stood there leaning against the door, smiling, looking at you as if you had gold-plated muscles. It gave you a weak feeling where your dinner ought to be. And her voice came right out of the oven.
Well, you're that kind of lady.
Yeah, I'm looking for a guy named John St. John.
Oh? Won't you come into my cobweb?
Sure. For a spider, you're nice and chubby.
Oh, a Spider-Man. My name's Lee Norton. You want to write it down?
I'm Pat Novak. I'm looking for a guy named John St. John.
You seem to be running a temperature on the subject. Sit down?
Yeah, the couch will do.
I'll bet you carry rainy nights in your pocket.
All right, now let's get out of the woods, Angel. I'm looking for a guy.
I know you're wearing out the past. I don't know a John St. John.
A dead man was carrying around your address.
He was? That seems rather futile.
Yeah, an old guy about 60. He got killed crossing the street.
He should have had a Boy Scout then. I don't know anything about him, Mr. Novak. Despite occasional temptations, I don't collect 60-year-old men.
Well, he was looking around your address. Why?
I don't know. Maybe he admired me from afar, like a sunset or something.
No, he stopped admiring sunsets about 20 years ago.
I see. What are you, the avenging angel?
He gave me a sealed envelope.
And you were supposed to give it to a man named John St. John.
That's right. He gave me $300 to ease the pain.
I forget that. You don't look like the charitable type.
He was a nice old guy, so I'm going to find his boy.
Maybe I could help you.
Well, you got a clear, fast track. Let's see you go.
Well, I told you I don't know John St. John, but I'll do this much.
Yeah, I know. You're going to be big-hearted and offer to take that letter just in case you ever meet someone named John St. John.
What? You brought along your crystal ball.
Your hand's shaking, baby.
Maybe it's the wind. You better hold it.
You need a handrail, friend.
Yeah? What are your plans?
I'm open-minded about it.
You're a nice Spider-Man.
Yeah. The wind's getting a little worse, isn't it?
Yeah. Wish you'd act a little more surprised, though.
I'm not. When I walked in, I could see you had both arms broken. Did you pay the rent this month?
Keep the kettle on. I'll only be a moment.
Hello, Lee. If we're early, just give us a magazine.
No, come on in. Well, just enough for some bridge.
You're right. You're only gone for a moment. Who are your friends?
Oh, now, don't sulk.
Did they lock the manhole before they left home?
His name's Novak.
Yeah? That's a pretty name. It don't rhyme with anything, but it's pretty, huh, Joe?
Yeah, it's all right.
Let's have the letter, Novak.
You got hold of a bad rumor, fella.
The one I got's good. Let's have it.
I don't want to strain your mind, Junior, but try to understand. I don't have a letter.
Ask him again.
Go on home, mister. You're not going to get anything out of me except a small tip. Now, if you're a good boy, I'll give you a nickel for your friend, too.
All right, Joe. Hold him up. Yeah. Just a minute.
He's got a head of hair. Hold him up. All right, Mike. That's enough. That's enough.
All right, baby. Don't look so sorry you can't have everything.
It's easy to sleep if you got the right friends. When those two donuts were through, I hit the floor and made Rip Van Winkle look like an insomnia victim. I didn't like the floor, but it was in better shape than my face. I don't know how long I was there, but it must have been a couple of hours. I rolled over once and tried to get up, but it was like trying to barbecue a cake of ice. There was a sick, sweet smell in the room. I tried to place it, but my nose was out on strike, so I went to sleep again. The next thing I knew, it sounded like New Year's Eve.
Here you go, Patsy. Up on the couch.
What's the matter?
Nothing. If you're the kitchen stove, the room's full of gas.
Oh.
You ought to open the window if you're going to turn on the gas.
Some of my playmates, I guess.
Well, you weren't at the apartment, so I tried here.
Yeah. What time is it?
2:00. Who got the quaint idea of the gas chamber?
The girlfriend. It was love at first sight.
I see. Let's go home to bed.
I'm getting used to floors. That old man started a ball game, Jocko. When I mentioned John St. John to this girl, she turned banker and brought in the Gunsels.
Did she get the letter?
I left it at home.
Oh, you're getting smart.
Yeah. $300 worth. They lifted my dough.
Well, you couldn't have used it where you were going.
Yeah.
I've checked on that hit-and-run car. It's listed under the name of Sidney Bronson.
Has he got a record?
No.
Everybody's a beginner. Well, let's go home.
Oh, it'll be dull, but you'll get used to it. Wait till I wash my hands.
Yeah, go ahead.
Patsy?
Yeah?
What did your girlfriend look like? Was she the lively type?
Yeah. Why? What's the matter?
Because she's not anymore.
Yeah. Those Gunsels play rough.
She's kind of pretty. What did she do besides sending out vibrations?
I don't know. But she knew all about John St. John.
Yeah?
She picked up the bait like a hungry bass. Also, look at that ring.
How'd you get around to that?
The insignia on it. The same one that's on that envelope, spliced crosses.
Let's go home, Patsy. The police will be here.
Yeah. Even Hellman will know she's dead. Come on, we better go. On your way out the door, Jocko, try it sideways because I think it's blocked.
Hello, Novak. You look pale.
It's my color scheme. What do you care, Hellman?
None. She looks peaceful.
Yeah, be quiet or you'll wake her up.
I'll tiptoe. She always cut her throat before she goes to sleep. Who is she, Novak?
I don't know.
It's awful cozy here for a bunch of perfect strangers.
I don't know every dead girl in town, Hellman. You'll have to check.
You can still ride, can't you, Novak? That's all you'll need down at headquarters. Come on.
Oh, get out of the haze, Hellman. You don't know who's dead yet, but you're going to book somebody.
Yeah. What are you doing up here, appraising the joint?
I came up to find a guy named John St. John.
She doesn't look like a guy named John St. John.
She was my lead. I came up here to smell out a rat. She had a half Nelson on me when two gunsels walked in.
They came up to fix the gas meter, I think.
You stay out of this.
I'll make every effort.
Now, if you're smart, you'll fingerprint this place, Hellman. These boys were cute. They've been in somebody's jail.
I'll handle my job. You stick to murder.
You'll go a long way to pin this on me, Hellman.
I can go a long way, Novak.
Not with what you got to drag.
We get a call in the middle of the night. Come up here and find you standing over a dead girl.
That's right.
And you want me to sprinkle powder all over. Back up and take a better look, Novak.
Oh, the view's fine, Hellman, and if you'll take a good look, you'll know why. You haven't got anything to give the DA except a slim lead and a fat hand. You're going to need help.
Not on this one.
You need help to find the street. Come on back to center, Hellman. Even with both hands, you couldn't...
Yeah?
Forget it.
So take the medicine like a good boy. I'm not going to walk out and let the two of you tour the town. I'm going to book one or both of you on a murder charge.
All right. Book Jocko here, then.
I love you in a generous mood.
You got a string, then, Hellman. Somebody's got to find John St. John.
Who's going to find Jocko?
Oh, stop worrying. I'll bail you out.
You haven't got the right size heart, Novak. You'll let him die on the vine.
Hellman, sometimes you're guilty of unexpected wisdom. I know it's reflex action, but it's consoling anyway.
I want you, Novak. I want you bad. I'll take this guy as a down payment, but I'm going to close out with you. Remember that.
I will.
All right. Come on, mister.
Wait a minute. Patsy, you're not going to let him lug me off like this.
What else can I do? The guy likes you. It was a bum curve to throw Jocko, but somebody had to dig us out of a hole. Jocko wasn't the boy. You can't shovel dirt with a bar rag. Well, I had no idea where to start. There were two murders, and they were both tied up with this John St. John. He didn't look like a good guy to know. Then there was that insignia, too. The one on the letter and the one on the girl's ring. Sure, it could be a coincidence, but that's what they said about Bluebeard. The only thing I could do was open that letter, so I went back to the apartment. I didn't have to turn on the light. They were running in pairs tonight. She was sitting there on the couch, proud of a pair of long silk legs and smiling like a guy who knows he's got $1 million in the bank. She was blonde, too. A little more lemon juice, maybe, but blonde anyway. She was nice and comfortable, and I got the idea she'd just signed a lease.
Good evening. How do you do?
Not very well so far.
A sly remark, Mr. Novak?
No, I'm just bringing you up to date. Your girlfriend's dead.
Yes?
Yeah. The gas jet's out in the kitchen.
It is? I think that's supposed to be mysterious.
You clear it up, then. Find a name for yourself and a reason why you picked out my furniture.
Oh? Do you mind my being here?
I just want to know your name before I throw you out in the hall.
Mr. Novak, I'll bet you're awfully slow when it comes to throwing somebody out in the hall.
Not if they can bounce as well as I figure you can.
When you do throw me out, throw the letter out, too.
All right, now, I've already had a dress rehearsal. The answer's no.
Well, at least I know where you stand. By the way, why are you standing? Please sit down.
Yeah. Who's John St. John?
Don't be redundant, Mr. Novak.
Who is he? If you want that letter, you know him.
Don't shout. I'd like you better if you could.
I don't need your vote. Who's John St. John?
I don't know him.
You want that letter because you collect stamps.
I want it. And you'll have to take my word. I don't know John St. John. Be worth breaking your heart over.
Look, there's a good guy down in the clink sweating on a murder rap for me, so I want John St. John.
You've got nice friends.
Who's Sidney Bronson?
How does that fit into the picture?
This started with a waterfront corpse. The leftovers belonged to an old guy that was hit by a car. The car's registered in the name of Sidney Bronson.
Mr. Novak, you seem so intense. It's a pity to waste it on random speculation.
Now, look, I told you, lady, I got a friend in the jug.
Loyalty's a nice trait. One of your nicest.
Yeah.
You're a pretty thing, Patsy.
Let's don't get fooled by the rapper.
I'll take a chance.
Anybody ever brief you on trouble?
Mm-hmm. You're hard to see that far away. Come on over into focus, Patsy.
Yeah.
You're pretty, Patsy.
You look like you're on a bill of sale.
I'm the gentle kind, Novak. I'd just like to break your ribs.
Go ahead, I can get a brace.
Come here.
Yeah. What's on your mind?
What you going to say when you find out about this gun?
Huh?
That's right, sweetheart. My finger isn't hollow. Back up and take a look at the gun.
You got to that purse, huh?
That's right.
You've ruined my confidence.
I'll give you a testimonial. In the meantime, I want the letter.
You go after everything the same way.
I want the letter.
It's in the desk. Come on. Right here in the top of the door. All right.
Go, stay away from...
I'm already here, lady. All right, now come on, drop the gun, sis.
Let go of my arms now.
That's your version.
Let go of me. Let go of me. What was that for?
A little something on the house. Now beat it.
Well, you've ruined my confidence.
You're lucky. Go on home.
You won't change your mind about that letter?
No.
Suit yourself. I'll be going. Oh, Patsy?
Yeah?
I can't help you on John St. John, but I wouldn't worry about that fellow, Sidney Bronson.
Why?
Because I'm Sidney Bronson. See you soon, Patsy.
That one sink in for a minute, but it got about as far as my brain and ran out of gas. She wasn't driving that murder car. Otherwise, she wouldn't get that talkie. It began to look like a big, fat, well-fed double-cross, and John St. John was holding up his end. I had to find out what was in that letter, so I made tracks for the bookcase. All I could do was browse because the letter was gone. Whoever took it didn't even leave a tip. I thought of the girl, but that didn't make sense. And I thought of John St. John. That made lots of sense. Things didn't look rosy for me or Jocko. I was about to buy a file and bake a cake when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
The coroner got a report on that dead girl. She died at 12:30.
That's pretty close. What's he got, a stopwatch?
15 minutes either way. Those fingerprints panned out, too.
Yeah?
A couple of L.A. strong-arm men.
Well, that's new for L.A. You got a call out?
We already picked them up. Your favorite's named Welcome Danglers.
I could make a joke.
I already got one. They're set up with a perfect alibi for 12:30.
That means I killed the girl.
Nobody's arguing. I got some more news.
Yeah?
I'm out at Seal Rock.
You got the figure for it.
We just found an envelope floating around the water. It's one of yours. You better come on out.
You found an envelope, so what?
So the envelope turns out to be in some guy's pocket. Come on out.
Well, that only meant one thing. Whoever took that envelope out of my place got popular. It was getting late, so I grabbed a cab and rode out to the beach. When I got there, Hellman was standing down near the water. He had Jocko with him. The surf was rolling in, and Jocko wasn't much better.
Hello, Patsy.
Hiya, Jocko. How's jail?
Dry.
Thanks for coming, Novak. You're sweet.
Where's the envelope?
Here.
Yeah, the same one.
That makes you look good.
There was a letter in here. Did you take that with the guy's money, Hellman?
You got all there is.
This guy on the beach is the third one.
It's my opinion the case will solve itself. We're running out of people.
Who is the guy?
His name's Walter Avery. Here's his stuff.
Yeah, what's left? Well, this spliced cross really gets around.
Huh?
It keeps bobbing up. Here it is on the guy's fountain pen.
I'm going to run this guy through the morgue, and then I'm going to look you up, Novak.
Yeah?
Sure. We want you down with us.
That's right, Patsy. I'll introduce you to all the best people. Good night, lover.
Well, it was close to 5, so I tagged by my place for some sleep. I tossed around like a fish on the living room rug. Hellman called about 9 to throw more dust in my eyes. He said one of the airlines had a passenger to Portland named Walter Avery. Just to make it tough, the guy made the 12 o'clock plane and got off at Portland. Well, I had left field all to myself. I got dressed and looked up Sidney Bronson's number. There was no answer, so I went over. The place was locked, and I looked up the janitor. He wasn't going to let me in, but it turned out his wife had a birthday coming up. Sidney's apartment was real high-powered. I don't know where she got the dough, but I knew I wasn't going to find a tin cup and pencil. What I found was lots better. A card with that same insignia, the spliced cross. The card said, Bellcrest Sanitarium, and down in the corner there was a guy's name, Dr. Emil Schoenig, psychiatrist. Vienna without the waltz. The Bellcrest Sanitarium was down near San Carlos, so I borrowed a new Nash from a guy I know and headed down that way. Everything was fine until I got in the front door. They didn't even let me register. woke up on a couch in Schoenig's office. It was dark outside, and my left arm was throbbing like a love story in a woman's magazine. The radiator sitting next to me was Sidney.
You're a deep sleeper.
I think I got some help. What happened to my arm?
Hypodermic. You only need one arm anyway.
In your case, I need a spare. Who did it?
Dr. Schoenig.
He's a darling boy. Where is he?
Out on the phone trying to figure out what to do with you.
What's that make me, a patient?
Well, that's one way of putting it. You made things easy. We were coming to you for the letter.
You want to try that over again?
We were on our way when you stumbled in.
You're wrong, Sid. Somebody's giving you a fast pitch. That letter was gone when you were up at my place.
I don't want a bum rib, Patsy. I want that letter.
You're trailing a field, Angel. I told you the letter's gone. A guy by the name of Walter Avery took it out of my place.
Walter Avery?
That's right, and somebody thanked him. They found him this morning making like a dead seal.
Walter Avery left for Portland last night.
A plant, sweetheart. You better read up on your friends.
Yeah. Thanks, Patsy.
I told you to watch it, Sid. You had more shots.
What's the difference?
None, I suppose. Why don't you mix us a drink while I talk to Mr. Novak?
I'll be right with you.
Well, Mr. Novak, you're one of my best patients.
That's because I like your needles. You better go easy on that drink.
Yes? Why?
You'll get drunk and run somebody down the way you did that guy on the waterfront.
Oh? A good guess. You should be proud. That's a good, sensible, final emotion.
Here's your drink, Emil.
Thank you, my dear. It's to Mr. Novak. Sorry there's no drink for you, Mr. Novak.
You probably will be.
Huh?
Forget it.
Emil, I talked to Mr. Novak before you came in. He thinks you're a heel.
He does.
So do I.
Oh, I can stand it.
He told me about Walter Avery.
I'm sorry about that.
Walter got that letter. You killed him and took it. I was supposed to blunder around till you got rid of me, too. That's a bum joke, Emil.
You're getting hysterical.
With laughter, Emil. You put one of your boys on that plane. Only Novak aired the wash too fast.
Suppose I did. Somebody ought to bring you up to date, Sidney. You've been hanging on too long. The free ride's over. I might as well tell you now. You're all through. I can't a whole bunch of longer. And I'm all through.
Steady, Emil.
What's the matter with me? What's the matter with me, Sid?
Give him a hand, Novak. He just had a bad drink.
You wouldn't do that.
I'm full of surprises. You got a stomach full of poison. You got a stomach full of poison in 15 seconds, Emil. Put down that gun, Emil.
I want you to, Sid.
Please, Emil, put down the gun.
I will stop it. Stop. This happened kind of fast for an of us.
What's the noise, huh, Patsy?
Yeah. I'll get you a pillow.
I'd rather have your lap.
You get mercy, not love, baby.
Thanks for small favors. How do I look?
Not so good. That was the 3-2 pitch.
Yeah, I had it coming up. I'll tell you about John St. John.
I know. There was no such guy.
That's right. It was the name of the group.
Those spliced crosses?
Yes. Found out a little late. It's always that way. That's the way I found out about you.
Yeah?
Had a funny hunch about you and me. I found out a little late. But I know now, Patsy. Does that help?
Buying and selling government information. That old man tried to tell me, but he checked out too fast. I began to figure something like that when those spliced crosses started showing up. Schoenig killed the old man in Sidney's car. He couldn't stop because I was around. The two girls and Walter Avery were both in on the deal. Schoenig knew who I was when he saw me go into my office. He tailed me to my place and left Avery there to look for the letter. He killed that girl up in the rooming house, and then he found out she didn't have the letter. When Avery showed up, he took it away from him and threw him to the fish. Schoenig was trying to shake Sidney by sending her up to my place after he had the letter. The scheme went haywire when I showed up at the sanitarium. He was trying to Worked himself out of that one when the payoff came. John St. John? Yeah, right from the start, Jocko said he was either dead or in the state pen, because anybody with a name like John St. John would have killed his parents as soon as he got old enough to find out about it. Worked out all right. They found the letter out at Schoenig's place. There were some plans for guided missiles and a few other trifles. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come Schoenig didn't kill me before I could talk to the girl? Well, it's always that way with a guy who commits murder. Either he goes too far or he doesn't go far enough.
Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Aston. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. Pat Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.